In a chaotic dimension, a horde of grotesque monsters charges forward with pure frenzy. They destroy absolutely everything that stands in their path. But their massive rampage comes to a sudden and screeching halt under Kim Chin-yu's lightning-fast strike. The legendary Earth Archmage, summoned to this deadly realm, shows absolutely zero mercy to his enemies. Surrounded on all sides, he wears a serious look before letting out a deeply frustrated sigh. To fight these filthy beasts head-on without any worries, he deploys a massive protective barrier over the castle behind him. Now think about this, a terrifying, silent threat eating away at everything. That is the corruption slowly consuming the planet Asalan. It is no exaggeration to say that 90% of Asalan has already been wiped out by this corruption. Thanks solely to the magical barrier developed by Qin Yu, only a few remaining kingdoms are barely managing to cling to life. But the core energy source, the pure mana crystals, is running dangerously low. This magical shield cannot hold out much longer, 3 years at the absolute most. The day that barrier fails, Asalan is doomed. The paused corruption will surge forward again, and endless hordes of monsters will slaughter every single survivor left. This incredibly harsh truth leaves Kim Chin-yu bitterly frustrated. He went through so much trouble being summoned to another world only for it to end in total destruction. Suddenly, Tai Rich appears right behind him, speaking with a serious tone to her master, the immortal Archmage and Lord of the Magic Tower. Master Qin Yu, glorious lord of our realm. He hates these useless, flattering titles, so he immediately clears his throat and cuts her off. Drop those fancy titles, he tells her the world is already on the brink of ruin, so what use are they anyway? Tai Rich nods obediently and replies with a gentle voice. Yes, master, but I have told you so many times that directly facing the corruption outside is far too dangerous. Her deep concern does not make Kim Chin-yu happy at all, and he openly shows his annoyance. Nagging me the second you get here, so what is wrong? Ignoring his grumpy attitude, she calmly explains that a formal summon has been issued, calling even a reclusive master like him back into action. It must be incredibly serious then. Looking at the monsters snarling uselessly outside the barrier, Kim Chin-yu lets out a tired sigh. That might be true, but I do not have a miracle cure either. Sensing her master's heavy heart, Tai Rich speaks plainly. Even so, you are the only person who can move freely inside the corrupted zones, so they are probably getting completely desperate. This brief talk carries a heavy weight, instantly plunging Kim Chin-yu into deep silence. The natives of Asalan cannot survive long inside the corrupted zones. No matter how powerful they are, even their very souls will start to shatter in there. But I am the sole exception to this rule. Yes, only an outworlder like me remains completely unaffected by the corruption. My soul is fundamentally different from the people of Asalan. It allows me to convert the corrupting energy into raw soul power to grow even stronger. Snapping out of his quick reflection, Kim Chin-yu finally speaks up with a question. What can I do all by myself? Unless I had an army of 1,000,000 men, maybe things would be different. Tai Rich, as if expecting this exact question, answers right away. Aside from you, the only person immune to the corruption would have to be a legendary hero. So, she says, I will just report that you are not participating this time, right? He stares out at the chaotic storm raging beyond the barrier before giving a heavy nod of approval. As Tai Rich turns to leave, she clears her throat and pauses to offer him a final warning. Do not push yourself too hard, just because you can resurrect in a new body if you die. If you go outside the barrier again, next time I will rebuild your body into a beautiful young boy. Or maybe a beautiful young girl would be better. That playful. Anyway, please focus on getting some proper rest. Finally having some quiet private space again only makes Kim Jin-woo start rambling and overthinking about 1,000,000 different things inside his head. Back on Earth, I was taking IV drips just to work insane overtime, and in Ilan I had to build magic towers and fight a desperate war against the corruption. Honestly, I have not had a single moment of real rest. This barrier is going to shatter within 3 years anyway, once the magic crystals run completely dry, and then this world is finished. Weighted down by these heavy thoughts, Kim Jin-woo sighs deeply. Right now, he just wants to drop everything and finally rest. Suddenly, out of the pitch-black sky above, strange streaks of light come raining down. For some reason, they gather right above Kim Jin-woo's hand, catching him completely off guard. He stares in utter shock. What on earth is this light? And wait for it before he can even figure out what is happening. The strange energy gathering in his hand erupts, forming a massive pillar of light that completely swallows him up. He can clearly hear the ground shattering around him, but is still too stunned by the sheer madness of his current situation to even move. Bewildered, he watches the strange energies around him while his mind races. He can feel an absolute, godlike power surging within. His soul has actually awakened, turning him into a transcendent being. For decades, he struggled and still failed to reach this level. Is it really true that he could only grasp this power once he let go of all distracting thoughts? To test his theory, Kim Jin-woo reaches out his hand, his heart pounding with rare excitement. Let's see, he thinks. Unbelievably, without even trying, a pitch-black soul portal starts taking shape right in front of him. Frankly, it is a transcendent soul portal. This gate links directly back to the soul's homeland, allowing him to maintain it indefinitely and step through it in his spirit form. Suddenly, for some bizarre reason, Kim Jin-woo's soul gets ripped straight out of his body, yet his eyes remain glued to the new system prompt in front of him. A portal you can pass through in spirit form? As the final details of the soul portal flash before him, he learns he can actually cast magic through it and move physical matter depending on its size. Without wasting another second, Kim Jin-woo dives straight into the glowing void. Time to test this out. The exact moment he vanishes from this world, a brilliant mystical light erupts from the deep portal. Who knows how much time has ticked by, but Kim Jin-woo slowly blinks his eyes open, only to realize he is back on Earth. He scans the familiar surroundings, muttering to himself in disbelief. Is this really Seoul after 100 years? He is finally back, but strangely, there seems to be no time gap from when he first fell into that other world. Even the smartphones look exactly the same as back then. Are the dimensions completely out of sync, or did he somehow travel back in time? With that thought screaming in his head, Kim Jin-woo flies off at high speed. If that is true, then what about his home? Unfortunately, his hope is instantly crushed the second he sees the completely unfamiliar sight waiting for him. A heavy wave of despair washes over him, leaving him unable to even draw a single breath. A strange building stands where his home used to be. It is gone. It feels as though the very existence of Kim Jin-woo has been completely erased from this world. Not a single trace remains, which actually hurts a bit. But wait, the magic concentration on Earth is dangerously low, and staying in this spirit form for too long means he might literally dissolve into nothingness. He needs to find a soulless body, and fast. Pushed to the brink, Kim Jin-woo flies frantically through the air to save his own life. After wandering for what feels like hours, he suddenly freezes in mid-air as he catches a strange scent. Kim Jin-woo's eyes lock onto a massive, expensive mansion sitting in the distance. He can feel some kind of lingering energy coming from that massive villa. Driven by curiosity and a tiny sliver of hope, he changes direction instantly. Let us go see what is waiting inside. The moment Kim Jin-woo slips inside the house, he completely freezes in utter disbelief. Call it crazy destiny, but lying right there on a sickbed is a young man with a face that looks exactly like his own. That steady, endless beeping of the life monitor just keeps echoing, making the air in this room feel pretty suffocatingly heavy. As the soft sobbing begins to fill the room, Dr. Sun Hai pushes past the family's heavy grief to deliver her final crushing update. I am so sorry, Chairman. We did absolutely everything we could, but there is simply nothing more that can be done at this point. Hearing those words, Unsung immediately breaks down, crying out in total disbelief. No, that can't be. Chin-yu, how could you leave your grandfather behind like this? Meanwhile, watching this absurd scene play out, Kim Chin-yu cannot help but start thinking to himself. This room is completely packed with all kinds of advanced medical gear, but who on earth is this old man, and how is his presence so incredibly powerful? And then boom! Watch this, because a flood of sealed memories suddenly unlocks inside his head. This body actually belongs to Lee Chin-yu, the youngest grandson of the nation's top billionaire conglomerate. He was a certified genius who earned multiple foreign doctorates at an unbelievably young age. There were rumors his health was bad, but to think he was actually bedridden like this. Still, this goes way beyond just having poor health. The guy is actually clinically dead already. His soul is dead, gone. In just a few hours, his physical breath will stop entirely. Sorry, buddy, but this happens to be the exact vessel I need, so I am borrowing it. Our names are basically the same too, making this soul possession absolutely perfect. With my high-level magic, repairing this broken body will be nothing more than a split-second task. Shin-yu quickly channels his inner magic to complete the possession before it is too late. The entire transfer takes only a few seconds. Kim Chin-yu's drifting soul swiftly merges deep into the dying body of Lee Chin-yu. A few minutes later, he slowly opens his eyes. Success! While Kim Chin-yu sits up and quietly celebrates inside, Lee Chin-yu's relatives are staring at this absolute medical miracle in total shock. Chairman Unsung is the first to speak. Chin-yu, how is this even possible? Shaking with sheer trembling disbelief, he immediately throws his arms around his beloved grandson. Oh my god, I thought all hope was gone. This is not a dream, is it? While Kim Chin-yu is still dazed and lets out a confused gasp, everyone in the room suddenly piles on top of him, including the chief doctor in charge of his care. Good heavens, my dear Chin-yu, this is a true miracle. Thank God, oh thank God. Are you alright? Are you in any pain? Is there any discomfort anywhere? As Kim Chin-yu awkwardly offers an incredibly honest reply, actually, I am feeling pretty uncomfortable right this second. Yoon-sung, completely driven by his immense love, loudly yells out even as he squeezes him tight. What on earth are you all doing? Didn't you hear my precious Chin-yu say he is uncomfortable? Back off right now. Hurry up. Finally, some quiet space. Kim Chin-yu lies back on his bed with a deep sigh. After dealing with that insanely chaotic welcoming party, his exhausted mind begins to wander. Talk about a noisy family, this is going to be incredibly tiring. But from their perspective, the youngest family member just literally came back from the dead. That reaction makes total sense. Honestly, this is not bad at all. Filthy rich and extremely close-knit. Living a luxurious life like this actually sounds pretty good. But suddenly Kim Chin-yu's eyebrows furrow tightly as his genius brain recalls a massive urgent problem. Even at this very moment, his home world of Ilan is steadily inching toward complete destruction. Is there really no way to save Ilan from the endless... To destroy the core that keeps spawning monsters? I wonder if using tanks or armored vehicles would actually work. No, even a nuclear bomb would probably be completely useless, let alone an armored division. If that core buried deep inside is not completely destroyed, those monsters will just keep respawning forever. Besides, is it even physically possible to transport heavy military weapons over there in the first place? No matter how much I analyze this, a solid solution just is not coming to me. With no optimal path forward anywhere, Kim Chin-yu grabs his handheld console to give himself a quick mental break. Time to play a game in distress. He boots it up, watching the title screen flash to life. Only in moments like this does his mind find a bit of peace after such exhausting work. Man, it has been a long time since I last played this. The game, Legend of the Seven Dragons, was highly praised even by a notoriously picky lead producer like myself in my past life. While it has a classic hero saves the world plot with a gathered party, the execution of the storyline is insanely gripping. A legendary hero? If only other heroes besides me could descend upon Elan. Not just one or two, but millions of them. With an army like that, our territory would be cleansed of this corruption in no time. Suddenly, a game notification pops up on his screen. Hero Rinka has obtained a mage summoning circle and a 5-star SSR companion. Would you like to summon a second hero? Without thinking twice, he taps yes. Just like that, the summoning process begins. That mindless click makes him freeze completely. The console slips, falling to the floor, but wait, here is the ultimate twist. Summoning heroes. Summoning heroes from Earth. His genius brain instantly sparks with an incredibly wild, epic plan. I can summon humans from Earth right through the Soul Gate, and then we will make them believe that Aslan is just an immersive game world. By designing a highly engaging storyline, I can guide them to wipe out the corruption. Since people from Earth are completely immune to this erosion, they can help us save Elan from total annihilation. In my past life, I was a game developer. In this life, I am an archmage and the youngest grandson of the country's ultimate billionaire family. Once I set my mind to something, nothing is impossible. With a brilliant master plan for the future, Kim Chin-yu mutters excitedly to himself. There are only 3 years left until total destruction, so let's give this everything we've got. Later, as the family sits down for dinner, Unsung warmly checks in on his favorite grandson. My dearest grandson, whatever you want to eat or do, just let me know. Kim Chin-yu immediately replies with the bright, eager smile of a young child. Thank you, grandfather. Actually, there is something I really want to try. But unexpectedly, Unsung suddenly puts down his fork with a dead serious expression. Don't tell me you want to go back to studying already. Did you already forget that you almost died from overworking? Kim Chin-yu quickly fires back with unbelievable speed. No, it is nothing like that. I actually want to try making video games. His seemingly casual words instantly freeze the 4 other family members sitting at the dinner table. Making games? Unsung speaks in a trembling, incredibly low voice. Do you mean those completely useless, silly little electronic video games? That overly intense reaction makes Kim Chin-yu feel slightly nervous. Is that not allowed, grandfather? But then, his grandfather's face suddenly lights up with wild excitement. Chin-yu. Games are the absolute best. Kim Chin-yu stands completely dazed as his older siblings immediately start cheering. Finally, Chin-yu actually has a hobby that fits his age. Exactly, the kid used to talk about nothing but neuroscience and AI all day long. Unsung, still deeply shaken by his grandson's near-death experience, cannot even hold back his tears of joy. This is seriously the absolute best news I have heard in a very long time. Chanyu, don't we happen to have a gaming studio among our many affiliate companies? The oldest brother answers back without a second thought. Yes, we have F games, though they spectacularly ruin everything they touch. The grandfather slams his hand on the table in pure excitement before the brother can even finish. Perfect. This will be your discharge gift from your grandfather, so go ahead and do whatever you want. Experiencing this kind of overwhelming, absolute support for the first time, Kim Chin-yu gasps in utter shock. Wait, seriously? His brain is completely thrown into chaos. I never imagined my grandfather would support me this much. Having an entire company has major perks, and since it is on the verge of collapsing anyway, it is the perfect playground for me to do whatever I want. With his family's full backing, Kim Chin-yu smiles brightly and nods. Thank you so much, grandfather. I will do my absolute best. Before he knows it, the scene shifts and he awakens once again in the world of Aslan. Looking around at the dense magical energy radiating through the space, Kim Chin-yu murmurs in confusion. Is this the Mage Tower? It seems Taezik successfully moved it here. Fortunately, this is still my original body. She did mention she would sculpt me into an incredibly handsome young man. In truth, this experimental soul transfer between 2 worlds was just a trial run for his upcoming massive soul teleportation project. I set up a pretty simple auto-execution spell on my body back on Earth. Remote control is working super smoothly too. Even if it looks a bit weird, it is absolutely not a problem. Alright, now it is time to draft our game plot. This is a job that requires a pretty special mind. And of course that brilliant brain belongs to our lovely Tia. She is currently busy writing down tons of info to save their pretty tough situation. Too bad her work gets cut short when Kim Chin-woo suddenly sneaks up on her, asking if she is working on a new book. Annoyed, Tia immediately snaps at him. Gosh, you almost gave me a heart attack. Please do not sneak up and talk behind my back like that. He just scratches his head, feeling pretty embarrassed. He apologizes, joking that the greatest writer in Aslan is always busy. This flatters Tia enough to make her gently ups. She is combining all her past works because everyone is going through tough times. She wants to create a temporary mental shelter, just for them. Kim Chin-woo feels quite relaxed as he sits opposite her. It turns out Tia has a truly wonderful heart. Kim Chin-woo suddenly drops a hypothetical scenario about a stranger falling into a ceiling, asking if she thinks that would make an interesting novel concept. He acts mysterious and gives a vague answer. Soon Kim Chin-woo gets right back to the point, sharing the actual game scenario he has been cooking up in his mind. This outsider has zero duty to protect their world and only wants to have fun since they have no connection here. We cannot exactly force them to help either. How do we make someone like that work their tail off for us? Now watch closely as a writer of millions of words, Tia instantly drafts a brilliant plot. You are recruiting absolute savages who only chase pleasure and fun. First, they need to feel like they belong here. Although intrigued by her angle, Kim Chin-woo still steps in to clarify. They are not exactly savages, so tell me more. Tia suddenly flashes a pretty mysterious smile before dropping a concept completely different from what he expected: love and tragedy. Pleasure-seeking beast meets his ideal type, falls deeply in love, and settles down in this very world. But right before their love can bloom, that ideal partner must suffer a horribly tragic death right in front of them. Spilling her wild script, Tia covers her face and laughs like a total maniac. With Kim Chin-woo staying quiet, Tia gets even more excited, scribbling furiously in her book. That is when you step in to comfort them, name their enemy, and offer help. A respected figure is highly effective here. For instance, if someone close to them dies horribly at the hands of the enemy, or if a beloved mentor gets killed while trying to save these savages from danger, it will work beautifully. We are talking pure emotional breakdown, loss, and deep regret. The absolute agony of losing someone you love and respect will ignite a massive, burning desire for revenge from deep within. This is a bit darker than Kim Chin-woo originally planned, but he cannot help smiling and nodding in agreement. She truly deserves her title as the absolute greatest storyteller in a season. She sketched out love and tragedy in a split second. Love blinds people, and revenge is an insanely powerful motivator. If we make players care about these characters and then drop them into a tragedy, they will move on their own. But then boom, Tia's sudden, gleeful screaming instantly breaks Kim Chin-woo's train of thought right in the middle. I cannot wait to see those savages cry their eyes out. Just watching that tragedy will satisfy my hunger completely. Hearing this, he can only let out a pretty awkward cough. This forces Tia to stop what she is doing. She apologizes for getting carried away again. Once he has her full attention, Kim Chin-woo sighs and throws out a major bait. No need to apologize. Let us collaborate on a project. If everything goes well, millions of souls will read your story. Hearing that, however, Tia looks quite taken aback. Millions, she gasps. He replies calmly that it could even be tens or hundreds of millions. Tia immediately starts imagining the massive wave of reactions from her future readers. Compliments like calling her a genius, praising her masterpiece, giving it 5 stars, and begging her to release the next chapter as soon as possible. She jumps up in pure excitement, looking like she just got an electric shock. If hundreds of millions of people can read my work, I will do anything. I will even become your willing slave. I do not care. My mind, body, and soul can be completely broken. Her wild transformation honestly terrifies him. Has she really been writing novels with this kind of mind state all this time? She has no shame admitting her absolute golden rule of writing. The absolute purest things are always born from the dirtiest, most broken places. Kim Chin-woo quickly moves past that to focus on their beta test plan. Imagine 3,000 clueless people suddenly landing in Jenkyu. That number will grow over time, forcing them to immerse themselves in this world and fight against the erosion. Hearing this scenario for the first time makes her insanely excited. This sounds like a complete fantasy novel. Do these beings come from an entirely different civilization? As Kim Chin-woo nods yes, he explains that the setting is Asalon. For the summoning point, let us use the event village where people are currently evacuating to escape the spreading erosion. Use this place as our tutorial zone to start the story. Now, check this out. Tia lets her dark side take over completely as she cackles like a maniac about the village where tragedy begins. Just thinking about those savages falling into absolute emotional despair makes me crazy excited. Her intense madness completely scares him off, making him leave the room immediately. He decides to just leave her alone for a bit. Since Aseelan already exists as a real world, with Tia adjusting the settings, their custom story will be finished in no time. Once the story is fully written, I will submit a pitch to FX Game, but there is no way I can convince the staff with just a written plot. No matter how much of a genius Kim Chin-woo is, they will definitely call him insane. He just lets his feet lead the way while his mind races through details. What I am planning is an absolute open-world role-playing game. It must offer total real-world freedom, letting players do anything and become anyone. Honest, this requires a massive collection of high-tech sci-fi systems that are currently impossible to make. But since the Soul Portal is currently limited to just one person, let us start by creating the storyline and a video demo to show everyone first. I guess I will need to find some actors. Right. As soon as that thought crosses his mind, Kim Chin-woo casts a quick transmission spell to reach his most trusted disciple for the job. Hatmonka, can you hear me? His disciple immediately seats at attention like a soldier to show deep respect, replying that he can hear him loud and clear. Master. His command echoes in Hatmanka's ears. I am heading to Jenku City right now, so bring Halan and H along. There is something important you all must do for Asilan, forcing him to drop his work immediately. Understood, master. Quite a while later, at Jenku City, Kim Chin-woo slowly makes his appearance right beneath the grand portal, holding a highly imposing staff in his hand. Before he can say a single word, his 3 disciples who arrived early shout in absolute excitement. Welcome back, master. Hatmanka steps up eagerly, showing off all the solid progress he made while he was gone. I did my absolute best to guard our territory responsibly. Halan also steps forward, wishing for Ilya's blessings upon him. Jinwoo does not really care about those words, so he just politely offers a gentle compliment. After all, everyone has been working quite hard in their respective positions. But Hatmanka completely misses Jinwoo's obvious discomfort and just keeps gushing with absolute admiration for the brilliant man standing right there. He even says their own struggles are absolutely nothing compared to their master's hardships. Finally reaching his absolute limit, Jinwoo snaps. He grumpily growls at them. I beg you, stop shoving your faces right up against mine. It is seriously creeping me out. Out of everyone who received Jinwoo's message, only Haina actually manages to keep her cool and address him with proper seriousness. She declares she is completely ready to sacrifice her life for Asilan and Blue Ocean. But while his 3 disciples happily await their orders, Jinwoo is already busy plotting his next big marketing campaign. Sure, Hana is an absolute beauty, so she's completely fine, but the other 2 look way too much like standard villains to be main characters. Honestly, who on earth dresses like a respected monk and a creepy former pope? Suddenly, a devious idea hits him, making him flash a sneaky little smirk. Jinwoo slowly opens up a small pocket dimension to rummage around for some specific items, while casually muttering, "Hey Hatmanka, you're pretty skilled with dark magic, aren't you?" The dark mage is slightly taken aback by the sudden question, but he still obediently nods in agreement. He humbles himself, saying, "Yes, but compared to you, I am nothing more than a mere insect." Jinwoo suddenly hands both men some rather strange-looking items, casually telling them that they should go ahead and try them on. And once they undergo their dramatic transformations, he excitedly cheers at how amazingly well the outfits suit them. Meanwhile, Hatmanka and Halan are left loudly protesting at the absolute top of their lungs. Oh my god, Lord Jinwoo, isn't this literally the outfit of a dark priest? You want me to be a heretic? Goddess Iola, please, forgive me. This is way too dark. It is pure blasphemy. Having successfully dealt with those 2 dramatic disciples, Jinwoo finally turns his attention to his last remaining companion. He looks at Haina and wonders what to do with her, his genius brain instantly analyzing the highly practical but completely unappealing armor she currently has on. I mean, we all know how game logic works. He mutters that she is covered up way too much, since female knights usually show some skin before presenting her with a brand new option. He tells her to put this on, sending Haina straight into a visible panic. She stammers, "What, Lord Jinwoo, you seriously expect me to wear that?" But our main character just leans in and gives her a highly sincere nod. He insists she must wear it. The moment Haina tries to object, he pulls out his classic emotional blackmail card, leaving her practically in tears. He tells her it is all for the future of Asilan, so she needs to just put it on. After quite some time, Haina slowly steps out of the changing area, having fully dressed in the skimpy gear he requested. She nervously whispers, "Lord Jinwoo, I have finished changing." Her jaw-dropping new look instantly does the trick, leaving Jinwoo completely wide-eyed and totally slack-jawed. He eagerly showers Haina with non-stop praise, telling her that the outfit does not just suit her, it is absolutely, mind-blowingly perfect. Blushing red, she still remembers to ask the most important questions on her mind. Can this skimpy thing even be considered armor? Her question quickly sparks a highly hilarious back and forth between the 2, with Jinwoo telling her to pay close attention. He explains that the less coverage armor has, the higher its different stats. She asks what kind of ridiculous logic that is, but he insists it is totally reasonable and is simply the law of his homeland, Earth. Having finally calmed down his traumatized disciples, Jinwoo suddenly falls into a deep silence. The overall setup is looking pretty decent, but he still feels like there is one crucial element missing from his master plan. Since Haina is a knight, he wants to create a dramatic scene where she stands up to protect someone from those 2 fake villains. Maybe a fragile, sorrowful saintess? He wonders if he should just contact Saintess Teresa, but the terrifying image of that 200-year-old lady instantly ruins the mood, and Jinwoo quickly discards the idea, muttering that she definitely would not fit. Just then, a cheerful shout of pure joy echoes through the air. A child giggles, "Catch me if you can, Sister Iris, you are way too slow." Iris chases after the 2 running kids, panicking and yelling at them not to run wild in the castle where the Lord resides. Unbothered, the mischievous kids run straight toward Jinwoo instead, giving poor Iris a near heart attack. She bows deeply, stammering, "The Lord. I am so incredibly sorry, my lord. The children snuck inside the castle without permission." But get this, Jinwoo does not care about that minor detail at all, excitedly declaring that she is going to play the Saintess, which naturally scares poor Iris half to death. She frantically stammers out an excuse to reject the role, saying, "But I am just a succubus. My race is totally useless for anything other than seducing men." But her protests only make Jinwoo even happier. He cheers perfect, that actually makes you even more suitable for the part, even as Iris desperately tries to avoid this blasphemy, pleading that it is highly disrespectful. Just a few minutes later, Jinwoo is happily admiring his newly assembled cast of actors. He grins, alright, let us start our little acting session, shall we? Sometime later, Jinwoo and his group of 4 are putting on highly serious faces, pretending to listen attentively to Tyrika's general report. She addresses him as the majestic Tower Master, the mysterious Archmage, and the glorious Lord of Zhank. But before she can even finish, he quickly interrupts her, telling her to drop all those embarrassing titles. This sudden interruption makes Tyrich freeze in confusion for a second, before she nervously continues her unfinished report. She reports, "Yes, Master, just as you ordered. I have successfully gathered all 130 of your disciples." But she still cannot help showing a deeply awkward expression as she looks at the bizarre scene in front of her. She asks why everyone is dressed so incredibly weirdly. When Jinwoo casually replies that they are just doing some roleplay, Tyrich gets even more baffled and repeats the word in total confusion. Roleplay? He stares at the crystal orb in his hand, muttering some strange words about how they must roleplay to save Asalan. This leaves Tyrich looking completely defeated as she sighs, "I truly do not understand what you mean." Jinwoo suddenly goes silent, taking a deep breath for a few seconds before making a highly unexpected announcement. He says, "Before I explain everything, I have something important to share with all of you." He reveals that he awakened not too long ago, and he can now open a soul gate to connect directly with another world. This incredible news naturally sends his disciples into absolute hysterics, cheering that their master has finally awakened. They loudly congratulate him. Basked in their highly admiring gazes, Jinwoo calmly reveals his grand master plan. He tells them, "I am going to summon heroes who are completely immune to corruption through this soul gate." He explains these heroes come from his own world, and their task is to make sure they can fight comfortably in Asalan. For now, they must temporarily put aside their current duties and official tasks. One of them naively asks what they are supposed to do next. In response, Jinwoo suddenly tosses a small glowing spherical crystal down to the leader of his disciples. He tells him to take it first. As the disciple stares in complete confusion, Jinwoo quickly explains his actual request. He tells them that the crystal contains a recorded video of their acting session. He commands them to edit it to look way more epic and divine, add lots of creepy skeletons, and make the background look highly detailed. Then, they must compress that video perfectly inside a small magic crystal. The chief disciple struggles to process all this nonsense, asking in total confusion what he means. Jinwoo does not bother explaining further, simply clearing his throat and speaking in a pretty cold, demanding tone. He tells them not to dare tell him that a skilled mage cannot handle such a simple task. This completely shuts up his disciples, who do not dare say a single word, but their terrified behavior only boosts Jinwoo's confidence by several levels. He thinks that even if they look completely overwhelmed, they will somehow find a way, since making the impossible possible is exactly what mages do. But putting that aside, seeing everyone dressed in matching green robes makes them look exactly like those adorable cat plushies in his little sister's bedroom. With that exact thought in his head, Jinwoo suddenly barks out a highly childish command, declaring that from now on, they are all magicons. This leaves the chief disciple sweating bullets as he nervously voices everyone's confusion, asking what on earth a magicon even is. Jinwoo just gives them a pretty vague answer, explaining that it is a creature from Earth that can make any wish come true. So he tells his brand new magicomans to go ahead and make his wish come true right now. The sudden shift in topic went completely over his disciples' heads, so they just replied respectfully, "Yes, master." Sometime later, in the bustling city of Seun, Jinwoo swiftly steps down from his family's luxurious ride. He is bringing an important cargo to FX game that could literally change the company's entire future. Staring happily at the data box in his hands, Jinwoo celebrates silently in his head. Thanks to the magicons, he finished the demo video in a flash. Suddenly, a strange sound echoes, causing him to look over in complete confusion. "Hello, you must be Director Jinwoo. I am Secretary Kim Han-soo. It is a pleasure to meet you." The man bows with a warm smile, extending his hand politely. "Chairman Lee asked me to assist you. It is an honor to work with you." Jinwoo gladly shakes Han-soo's hand right away. "Got it. Nice to meet you too." Han-soo quickly leads the young director inside while debriefing him, noting that just as requested, the entire staff is already gathered in the conference room. What an efficient worker. Awesome, let's head up. Meanwhile, Dong-soon sits in his office, sighing deeply, feeling extremely frustrated by the negative press and hateful articles he just read online. Headline claims the gaming industry has lost its way and FX game has hit rock bottom. Some clickbait articles even suggest they are already dissolved, ruining Dong-soon's mood completely. They write about Jinwoo, a genius with 5 doctorates by his early 20s. Rumor says he is making a comeback, but why choose a dying company like theirs? Does he want to save a collapsing studio the same way he saved himself? Suddenly, Han-soo bursts through the door, shattering his train of thought. He announces that the new director has finally arrived. Just check out this entrance. Jinwoo walks into the room with absolute confidence, carrying some massive main character energy that leaves the entire staff totally dazed. Dong-soon can only stare, trying to hide his internal panic. So this is the famous Chinwoo. His presence is unreal. The room grows tense as he takes his seat at the head of the table. I am Chinwoo. I doubt I need any further introduction, so let's get straight to business. Your 30 billion won game, Raw Saga, was shut down last month before it even launched, and your entire development team jumped ship to NF already. Dongsun immediately bows his head to apologize. I am deeply sorry, it is entirely my fault, he stammers in sheer panic. In his mind, he is absolutely convinced that they are dead meat and everyone will get fired today. He figured the new director came to shut down FX game and start fresh, but instead Chinwoo just sighs softly and chuckles, saying he actually likes it. Seeing Dongsun's confusion, Chinwoo calmly explains his vision. Since everything is already ruined, they can clear the slate and start entirely from scratch. Left with no other choice, Dongsun simply agrees. That agreement gives Chinwoo the perfect cue to signal Hansu to hand out the new project plans. Exactly, a fresh start. Take a look at this, everyone. Pass it around. The moment Dongsun reads the title, he freezes. Project Asan. Before anyone can even speak, Chinwoo walks them through the proposal he stayed up preparing. It is a virtual reality game, complete with lore, storyline, and concept art sketches. Take a look and tell me your thoughts. Just as he expected, the detailed draft leaves the staff buzzing with genuine excitement. This is incredible. The world building is solid and really pops. It has this classic medieval vibe, yet somehow feels super modern at the same time. But unlike the excited young staff, the veteran Dongsun raises a realistic concern. This is planned for VR, but virtual reality games rarely sell well since the hardware is not mainstream yet. Plus, the public might strongly object to VR. But despite his veteran's concerns, Chinwoo remains completely unbothered and simply grins back. Do not worry, people will barely have time to buy it before it completely sells out. Such bold confidence leaves Dongsun utterly baffled. Chinwoo drops his friendly grin, replaced by an intense, dead serious look that commands the room. He says he meant exactly what he just stated. He promises to turn the world upside down with this game, but seeing is believing. Is there a spacious room in this building? Curious, Dongsun quickly nods. We have an empty motion capture studio. Chinwoo immediately orders everyone to head over and gather the rest of the team, sparking instant curiosity. Soon, the entire staff gathers in the motion capture studio, whispering and gossiping before the big boss arrives. Virtual reality? Seriously? I heard he is a genius, but also a bit eccentric. Think he is trying to trick us? Why would he even bother? Sick of the idle chatter, Dongsun clears his throat to restore order, announcing everyone has arrived. Without even looking at them, Chinwoo simply commands to kill the lights. As an employee flicks the switch, cutting them into darkness, Chinwoo's voice cuts through the quiet room, instructing everyone to take a step back. Placing a mysterious black box on the floor, he whispers to build suspense. Let us begin. Suddenly, the box cracks open, leaking beams of blinding light. Hold on, because in seconds, his magic array erupts, forcing them to shield their eyes. Before they even realize what is happening, the entire room is suddenly transported to Eilon. Even knowing some of the basic plans, Dongsun cannot process this insane reality. A magic circle? What on earth is happening? Suddenly, a massive shadow blocks the sky, making him look up in confusion. The terrifying sight sends one of the female staff into a panicked scream. What is going on? Everyone stares blankly as a colossal dragon circles above, letting out a deafening, terrifying roar. Any courage they had instantly vanishes as they all scream in sheer terror. A dragon? Is that a real dragon? Run for your lives. Seeing their panic, Chinwoo just laughs. Calm down, everyone. It is only a hologram. Dongsun speaks for all of them, utterly stunned. What? Chinwoo speaks slowly to draw their full attention back to him. A hologram, or in other words, virtual reality. Once the room falls dead silent, he spreads his arms wide to make his grand point. This is Eilon, the world where Project Eilon takes place. Hearing this, Dongsun, experiencing hyper-realistic VR for the first time, screams in disbelief. You mean this is the actual world of the game you designed? Chinwoo simply nods calmly. Exactly. Looks pretty realistic, does it not? While the shell-shocked staff are left muttering about how on earth this kind of mind-blowing tech could even exist, Chinwoo snaps his fingers to capture their attention again. Now, let us move on to the main storyline. Instantly, the beautiful ground beneath their feet shifts into complete darkness. For some bizarre reason, the moon starts moving incredibly fast, triggering a creepy solar eclipse that looks straight out of an ancient ghost story. Right after the sunlight vanishes, Hatmonka and Heron suddenly burst from the ground on Kim Chinwoo's orders. Before this, they had played their villain roles to absolute perfection. They even mockingly roar out for the mortals to tremble in fear, because the power of darkness will soon corrupt every single one of them. Their call is instantly answered by weird skeletons rushing forward. Hatmonka does not care who these oddly dressed people in front of him are. He just raises his voice and recites his lines exactly like the script demands. He commands his minions to feast on the flesh of mortals, turning everyone completely pale. They instantly lose it, screaming to run because they have no idea what is happening. Are those things even real? The staff begs to know if it is just a hologram. Honestly, you have to laugh at how Kim Chinwoo decides to play a massive prank right in the middle of this intense moment. But his relaxed attitude only drives his employees deeper into utter despair. What is going on here? Little do they know, everything is actually running exactly according to his secret calculations. Just when they hit rock bottom, a mysterious hero emerges to save them. Our brave warrior Hai steps up and tells everyone to stay back. Charging forward at an unbelievable speed, this fierce woman completely obliterates the skeleton actors that Heron and his helper summoned out of nowhere. Once this simulated bloody battle concludes, the panic of the victims is immediately soothed by a healer who steps in. It is a stunning saintess, even if she is a total fake. Telling everyone not to worry, she unleashes a wave of magical energy to wipe out the remaining skeletons. She then stands beside Hai like a holy savior, declaring the light will protect them. Just like that. Dozens of FX game employees fall hook and sinker for the trick, screaming exactly how he wanted. They praise the saintess for her blessings and thank the holy knight who saved them. Hearing their desperate prayers, Kim Chin-woo cannot help but smile with absolute satisfaction. It is working perfectly. They are completely hooked, just as he expected. Everything is rolling out smoothly according to his master plan. Watching his spectacular handiwork reach its grand peak, Kim Chin-woo gladly steps to the side to celebrate his genius in his head. It is time for the big climax. Hatmonka surprisingly turns out to be the absolute star of the show, delivering his dramatic lines with zero cringe and full commitment. He loudly rages about having fresh test subjects, commanding his demonic minions to tear those fools apart and completely devour their flesh. As the undead howl frantically, Hai plays along with a serious look and yells out. Right on cue, Saintess Ah floats up into the air, asking everyone to lend her the light inside their hearts. The employees raise their hands like devoted cult followers, shouting that the heroes need their energy. They urge each other to raise their hands and combine their strength together. A surge of pure energy, whether it actually comes from them or not, quickly swirls into Hai's blade. Brimming with new confidence, she charges straight ahead, letting out a wild battle cry before swinging her sword down. The surrounding crowd goes completely wild, chanting for Ailan over and over. As expected, Hai only needs to execute a gentle slash, but it is enough to make Hatmonka turn pale as the blinding light rushes toward him. He gasps that this is impossible. The energy sphere released by Hai unleashes cracks of lightning, completely vaporizing the very last of the undead army. Feeling the theatrical hype, Hatmonka takes a highly dramatic fall to the ground. He does not forget to beg for help in a trembling theatrical voice. He begs the fallen lord to save him, prompting Heron to clear his throat and immediately play along. He sneers that weak trash is completely useless to him. Dark energy erupts from his hand, instantly swallowing Hatmonka as he lets out a painful echoing scream that rings out for miles. Watching this brutal scene, the employees are completely paralyzed with shock, wondering if he just killed his own ally. But before anyone can process this massive shock, Heron extends his hand toward them to cast another spell. He coldly declares it is their turn now. Instantly, everyone is enveloped by a sinister mist, filling the entire room with deafening screams of terror. As they hold their heads in despair and scream for someone to save them, Kim Chin-woo quickly transports everyone back to the motion capture studio. Realizing he is not hurt, Dongsun slowly opens his eyes in utter confusion. He sees his fellow workers still shaking from Kim Chin-woo's incredibly realistic simulation. Right then, their boss cheerfully flips the lights back on and asks if the pitch video was decent. This simple question immediately sends the entire room into a noisy frenzy as they frantically try to express their thoughts. Was that actually just a hologram? They ask what on earth is going on and when he developed this. Some even beg to see the beautiful saintess just one more time. Slightly overwhelmed by their sudden intensity, Kim Chin-woo awkwardly raises his hands and begs everyone to calm down first. As the most experienced veteran in the office, Dong-soon quickly regains his composure and speaks up on behalf of the staff. He apologizes for getting so carried away, explaining that it was their very first time experiencing true virtual reality. But boss, is it really okay to show us something this mind-blowing? Isn't this a massive trade secret of the corporation? The sheer market value of a virtual reality game is completely beyond imagination. If this leaks out, things could get bad. But Kim Chin-woo does not care about that at all, confidently asking if they really think anyone would even believe them. He tells them to go ahead and tell the world FX game is making a VR game. Dong-soon stands frozen for a few seconds before giving a hesitant reply. That actually makes sense. Once the tension finally clears, Kim Chin-woo clears his throat to ask the ultimate question, wanting to know if they have decided to join him. Still riding the massive high from their mind-bending virtual reality trial, the employees eagerly shout their agreement without a single second of hesitation. They ask what they need to do, declaring they will follow him anywhere, even if they have to dive straight into hell itself. Seeing his elaborate setup succeed perfectly, Kim Chin-woo confidently delivers an inspiring speech, telling them to completely forget everything they have ever learned about traditional game development up to this point. They will start completely fresh using a brand new engine he built himself. Since they have his full support, learning it will be incredibly easy. Soon, they will conquer the entire gaming industry. He urges them to conquer global culture together, declaring they will make history. This epic rallying cry gets the employees incredibly fired up as they raise their hands and cheer along in pure excitement. Some time passes, and a shocking headline spreads like wildfire across the country, claiming that the future of Korean gaming, or rather Korea itself, lies in FX Game. News of FX Game creating a world-changing project is instantly published for the public to read. Within moments, countless other media outlets publish articles with the exact same shocking rumors. It is a true virtual reality game. People praise CEO Kim Chin-woo like a savior who will build a gaming paradise, urging everyone to invest in a massive opportunity that is supposedly even bigger than Bitcoin. But despite the hype, those grand claims quickly spark a wave of skepticism and mockery on social media. People are literally asking if these writers have lost their minds. They laugh at the idea of FX Game doing anything, saying everyone knows the company is dead, and calling it a playground for some rich Cheeble kid. Reading these harsh comments in his private lab, Kim Chin-woo just chuckles to himself, noting that nobody believes it, just as expected. Suddenly his phone vibrates with an incoming call from Eun-sung. He answers it immediately without a single second of hesitation. He politely greets his grandfather, sparking a quick conversation between them. Eun-sung asks if he has seen the online articles, and Kim Chin-woo calmly replies that he has already skimmed through them. His grandfather fumes that they are insulting his precious grandson, offering to unleash the legal team immediately, but Kim Chin-woo calmly shrugs it off, saying this is actually great free publicity. Noticing how crazy relaxed his grandson is, Eun-sung can only sigh and shake his head before asking how his business is going. Chin-woo doesn't waste a single second, immediately hitting him with a super positive update. He says things are going great and they just finished their beta test. Hearing this, Eun-sung breathes a massive sigh of relief. It's honestly the best news he's heard all day. Right then, Chin-woo remembers a crucial feature. He actually built a fully functional fishing skill into the system. This is the perfect excuse to switch up the topic. So he asks if his grandfather still loves fishing. Hearing this, Eun-sung beams with absolute joy, immediately bragging about the good old days when he used to catch sharks as big as houses. He even claims he fought a massive marlin once. Chin-woo waits for the old man to finish bragging, then slides in a sneaky question, would you like to go fishing with me? Eun-sung doesn't suspect a thing. He just sighs, looking pretty disappointed as he explains his bad back has been acting up lately, so he'll have to just stay home and rest for a while. This is the exact opening Chin-woo was waiting for to set his plan in motion. He tells the old man he has something crazy to show him and says he is heading over right now. That night, inside the massive family villa, Eun-sung inspects the strange gadget his grandson brought, asking if he actually made it himself. Grinning as his grandfather walks right into the trap, Chin-woo puts on his slickest, most innocent voice. He tells him to lie down and give it a shot, promising a massive surprise. Eun-sung agrees to humor him, but the moment he puts the gear on, he starts analyzing it. Even though he's just humoring the kid, the fit and sleek design are way better than anything those big tech companies put out. He can't help but feel proud of his grandson. Seeing the old man stay completely silent for a while, Chin-woo can't help but ask if he is ready to start. Snapping out of his thoughts, Eun-sung quickly nods and tells him to show him what this machine can actually do. Hearing that, Chin-woo happily hits the start button. Get ready, because what happens next is about to completely blow your mind. Instantly, digital data starts flashing silently through the circuit boards as the simulation boots up. Just seconds later, Eun-sung opens his eyes, totally dazed. He looks around at the incredibly strange scenery, muttering to himself in absolute confusion. This is a massive shock for the old man. Everything around him looks and feels 100% real. Before he can even process it, Chin-woo suddenly pops up with a perfectly rehearsed welcome. He welcomes his grandfather to Ilan. Eun-sung is practically screaming in his own mind, demanding to know what's going on and where on earth they actually are. Chin-woo smoothly tricks him with a pretty convincing explanation, telling the old man that they are inside the virtual reality game he's been developing. He even mentions that his avatar is modeled after how he looked back when he was 40 years old. He jokes about wanting to make him even younger but couldn't find any old photos. Eun-sung catches a glimpse of himself in a mirror and literally yells out loud. He stammered that this is impossible and asks if virtual reality is actually real. Seeing his grandfather completely blown away, Chin-woo can't help but laugh, reminding him that he promised a huge surprise. Chin-woo proudly tells him he's the very first person to enter this virtual world, but Eun-sung isn't even listening, too busy running his hands over a youthful face he hasn't seen in decades. He is amazed that his youthful body has absolutely zero aches or pains, making him feel incredibly energetic. He showers Chin-woo with endless praise, saying this isn't just a simple surprise, it's on a whole other level. Eun-sung asks how he even found the time to build something so advanced. Chin-woo smoothly brings up the time he spent lying in a vegetative state, making it sound pretty convincing. He explains that his mind was actually still awake while he was paralyzed. He had endless hours to plan everything out, fully focusing on his ideas without any outside distractions. Luckily, Eun-sung buys it since his grandson has always been a certified genius. Still, his curiosity gets the better of him, and he asks if doing something like that is actually possible. Not wanting to dig himself into a hole, Chin-woo changes subject right away. He excitedly tells the old man that it's time to get moving. Still completely awestruck by the gorgeous fantasy scenery, Unsung instinctively follows his grandson and asks where they are heading. Leading the way with a big smile, Chinyu cheerfully reveals the master plan: they are going fishing. After walking for a bit, Chinyu points to a shimmering lake and announces they've arrived. Unsung's eyes go wide at the sight, immediately praising how gorgeous the water looks. Suddenly, he watches his grandson pull fishing gear straight out of a spatial portal. Just like with the mirror earlier, Unsung is completely dumbfounded, calling the whole thing absolutely mind-blowing. Handing over the rod, Chinyu explains with a grin that it's just magic. He says he designed everything to be super user-friendly, so his grandfather will get the hang of it in no time. Deciding not to stress his brain over how this crazy virtual technology actually works, Unsung happily focuses on his favorite hobby. He admires the premium feel of the rod, swings back to build momentum, and casts the line with flawless technique. He tells his grandson to watch closely. The very second the hook hits the shimmering water, his long line suddenly gets violently yanked forward with incredible force. Shocked by the instant bite, the old man yells out that he's got one, and this fish is pulling with insane strength. Gritting his teeth, Unsung forces his long dormant muscles to wake up and help him pull. He pours every ounce of his strength into pulling the rod, shouting that he is way stronger than some fish. A massive, bizarre-looking fish launches high into the air, leaving Unsung completely stunned. He just stares at his legendary catch for a long moment, completely unable to process what just happened as he dazedly mutters, "What on earth is this?" Chinyu happily claps, praising him for catching such a monster fish. Hearing those words snaps the old man out of his daze, making him look down at his powerful, muscular hands. A deep sense of joy washes over him. He had already accepted that his youth was gone forever, but how long has it been since he felt this incredibly alive and full of energy? It has been so long that he can't even remember. As his grandfather laughs with pure, childlike joy, Chinyu quietly smiles to himself, already calculating the next phase of the grand plan he has been carefully crafting for ages. Ultimately, he plans to bring humanity here to defend Ilon, but seeing his grandfather this happy, honestly, it's pretty wholesome. Shaking off the heavy thoughts, he quickly shifts the mood to keep things fun. He suggests taking a photo to commemorate his grandfather's truly epic catch. Still riding the high of one surprise after another, Unsung excitedly agrees to strike a heroic pose. He's amazed there is even a camera mode, eagerly telling him to snap away. Unsung climbs right onto the giant fish's head, laughing out loud and shouting that he feels completely re-energized. Rejuvenated and beaming with joy, the old man strikes a proud pose as Chinyu snaps the picture. Later that night, the two sit by a cozy campfire, ready to feast on their fresh catch. Taking a massive bite of the fish, Unsung is amazed that he can actually taste the food and feel full. Seeing his grandfather so happy, Chinyu laughs and tells him to eat up. Suddenly, quiet footsteps echo nearby. Two unfamiliar hunters approach them. Hostile looks written all over their faces. Chinyu frowns, realizing he's never seen these guys in Gen Kingdom before. Seeing them, Unsung asks if someone else has logged into the game too. Caught totally off guard, Chinyu is forced to quickly scramble and come up with a rather clumsy lie. He tells him they are just non-playable characters, but the hunters look totally confused as they keep marching closer. Muttering about the weird words these strangers are using, they demand to drag the suspects directly to their lord. Before they can even take another step, Chinyu uses telepathy to speak directly in their minds, commanding them to stop because he is currently talking with an important guest, so they need to back off. That hostile tone and his absolute bloodlust made those two hunters completely lose their minds in fear. Calling him Lord, they scrambled away as fast as their legs could carry them. Apologizing as they fled, their panic only made Unsung raise an eyebrow in confusion, wondering if it was some weird programming bug. Chinyu had no desire to explain, so he just agreed. "That must be it," Unsung says. Suddenly remembering a crucial question, he asks how far the development has actually gone. Chinyu answers without thinking twice, noting that while things are still pretty basic, they have already built quite a lot. Just a starter village, one main city, and a hunting zone. Hearing this, Unsung laughs happily, reminding his grandson that they still have a pretty long road ahead. He promises full support from now on, so Chinyu can focus completely on development. Hearing those reassuring words naturally makes the young man feel happier than he ever has before. This is amazing. With the massive backing of the Osung Group chairman, progress is bound to move at lightning speed. Chinyu expresses his deepest gratitude, promising that the team will work their absolute hardest to make this perfect. Suddenly, the old man gets serious, shifting to an entirely different topic. He asks if Chinyu plans to take that device with him. Pointing clearly to the unit, Chinyu immediately catches on and asks if he means the main connection gear. There are still quite a few bugs to fix, so I need to take it back for now. Hearing this, Unsung immediately starts complaining about how his old body aches all over, claiming he might just drop dead by tomorrow. He sighs that he is destined to just lie in bed waiting for the grave. Chinyu immediately calls out his dramatic acting, reminding him that he literally just said he was completely healthy other than that minor scratch. Yet the grandfather keeps playing his tragic role perfectly, muttering that Chinyu's grandmother is calling for him, so he might as well just pass away. Knowing he is defeated, Chin-yu sighs and completely gives in, telling his granddad to keep the gear for now and that he will update him once it is ready. Instantly, Unsung beams with joy, praising him as the absolute best grandson ever. Thanks to the absolute backing of Chairman Unsung, the entire development process runs incredibly smoothly. The team focuses heavily on building and refining helpful utilities so future players can easily adapt to this massive virtual world. Now fully comfortable with the magic engine, the programming team is coding at a lightning-fast pace. Meanwhile, using the initial main script written by Tia, the art department designs stunning visuals and detailed profiles for every single in-game character. Some characters even get a bit too much favoritism, like Prince Lion. The female staff are so utterly obsessed with him that they completely forget about their actual work. He is seriously the man of my dreams. I would give anything to see him move in real life. He is so insanely handsome. If we enter Eilon, do you think we will actually get to meet him? They mention that only executives and team leaders are allowed to test the game. Hearing this, Dong-sun, who happened to walk in at the absolute worst moment, shudders under the terrifying glares of his own staff. They corner him immediately. It's basically a full interrogation about why he hasn't been going home lately, demanding to know if he is hiding something from them. They ask if playing alone in the test room every day is really that much fun. He can only stammer back that he is simply doing his job before quickly trying to escape. Luckily, just as the tension peaks, the elevator doors slide open. Completely oblivious to the drama, Chin-yu steps out of the elevator with a casual greeting. As soon as he wishes them a good afternoon, everyone freezes and bows in respect. After receiving their formal greetings, Chin-yu completely ignores the crowded workspace and gets straight to business with Dong-sun, announcing that the connection gear just passed the final stability tests. Think about it, passing the stability test means mass production is about to start. But wait, there is an even bigger announcement, coming from the director right now. Realizing the boss wants everyone to hear this, Dong-sun nervously addresses the entire room, asking if they have all heard about the upcoming product showcase for Osung Electronics. We are entering the show, and naturally this massive announcement makes the entire office erupt in pure joy. Recalling all the toxic comments and harsh online insults aimed directly at their company, Dong-sun raises his voice to deliver an incredibly passionate speech. He acknowledges that everyone here has quietly endured a massive amount of stress and disrespect lately. It must have been pretty painful, but now is the time to turn those insults into cheers of victory, because our game Assel Saga is about to completely conquer the global market. Surprisingly, his dramatic speech hits the mark, and the office erupts into wild applause. But before they can scatter back to work, Chin-yu steps forward to share one more massive bonus. He promises that once the showcase wraps up, everyone in the company will get their hands on a premium testing console for a massive internal test. This incredibly generous gift has the entire team absolutely hyped, chanting his name in pure joy. They keep chanting Chin-yu's name over and over. He stands there soaking in their praise, but the moment is cut short as his phone starts vibrating wildly in his pocket. It is his grandfather, Unsung, who is already missing the game simulation, spamming him with messages. He begs Chin-yu to launch the server today, excitedly announcing that his official vacation starts right now. But the final message completely derails his peace of mind, stating that the old man is already on his way to the office. Shaken, Chin-yu frantically tells his team he has an urgent matter to handle and must leave immediately. He even tells everyone to head home early today, yet the overly dedicated Dong-sun raises his hand, eagerly stating that he was actually planning on working late tonight anyway. The female staff immediately scream in protest, complaining that it is totally unfair for only the manager to get overtime privileges. Sometime later, at the massive Univer Park Hall, tech reviewers Hanan and Young-yuk begin their tour of the exhibition, carrying very different thoughts about what they are about to see. Is FX Games seriously here? Are they actually planning to launch a second-generation virtual reality headset or something? Hyping up full immersion only to drop another buggy prototype would make them complete scammers. But then again, that controversy is exactly why they are getting so much attention right now. Even so, launching this product feels like a pretty massive gamble that could easily blow up in their faces. Everyone is saying that unless this is actual full immersion tech, they are completely finished. Between uncomfortable designs, terrible battery life, and lack of app compatibility, the current market has way too many issues left to solve. The idea of a local company matching the tech giants of America and releasing a true virtual reality system sounds like something straight out of a cheesy science fiction novel. But if they actually pulled off a miracle, they might just steal the entire show. Still, I can already picture you tearing their headset to shreds in your next upload. Ladies and gentlemen, the official presentation is about to begin. Pay close attention to what happens next, because the host is stepping up to the stage right now, bringing the entire crowd to a sudden hush. He announces that a special guest will personally present their groundbreaking new project. When he introduces the CEO of FX Game, the crowd gasps in shock, whispering that the legendary genius has officially returned from the brink of death. Stepping onto the stage with absolute confidence, Chin-yu greets the massive crowd, introducing himself as the head of the company before joking about how much he enjoys all the memes about him. He laughs off the wild rumors, claiming he has discovered room temperature superconductors or invented anti-gravity technology to launch humanity into a brand new space age, noting that countless crazy stories have been spreading online. He admits today's reveal is not quite that miraculous, but promises it will easily exceed all expectations. Telling them it is time to begin, he silently casts a real magic spell to trigger a spectacular, mind-bending visual effect across the hall. Experiencing this unreal sight for the first time, young Yuk and Hanan are completely blown away, wondering if they are looking at a 4D projection of a massive, living ocean. Knowing exactly how stunned the audience is, Chin Yu calmly keeps going with his speech. He talks about how humanity has conquered deep oceans and survived countless trials just to finally leave their permanent footprints on solid ground. We have marched across endless burning deserts, traveled over vast green plains, and finally touched the eternal, untouched snow. Conquering the highest peaks with sheer courage, defying death, and pushing through absolute despair. The chilling cold feels so real that Handon can only gasp in shock. What kind of tech is this? Is it some insane CGI? Dunguk completely loses his smug attitude, shivering as he whispers that he can literally feel the texture and the biting cold. It is absolutely unbelievable. Before anyone can say another word, Kim Chin-woo steps in to explain further. After conquering the lands, we even claimed the skies. But we did not stop there. We sent humans to the moon and launched autonomous space probes straight to Mars. It would be magnificent if we could conquer the entire cosmos. However, due to harsh physical limitations, that is pretty much impossible with our current scientific technology. Were we born in an awkward era, too late for ocean voyages but too early for space travel? Will we die without ever tasting that romance? I refused to give up, and I finally found it. I literally built a whole new world for us to explore. With a sharp snap of his fingers, Kim Chin-woo flashes everyone back to the presentation hall for a split second, only to immediately throw them into a terrifying new space under a crimson blood moon. This eerie, oppressive atmosphere makes everyone instantly freeze in place. Experiencing this mind-blowing mixed reality technology for the very first time, Handon cannot help but gasp out loud. Where on earth are we? You can actually see the sheer panic on their faces as these cute little monsters suddenly surround them. What is even going on here? Meanwhile, he just calmly continues his half-finished speech, using this dramatic shift to make sure this mind-blowing showcase burns a permanent memory straight into their minds. I proudly present a fully immersive virtual reality game, Dream World Born of Hope Aslan Saga. The early access version of Aslan Saga will officially launch in just 2 weeks. Our players will need to connect using our custom-designed SIN device, which is strictly limited to only 2,500 units, with orders opening today. Right after that announcement, this exclusive gear goes live on the store, priced at a staggering 3 million won per unit. This immediately sends social media into a massive frenzy as viewers online start voicing their heavy doubts. A fully immersive virtual reality game? Seriously? There is no way. This has got to be a complete scam. Is Osung Electronics trying to manipulate their stock prices? What on earth is that guy babbling about? Kim Chin-woo has lost his damn mind. What a total national embarrassment. Reading through these brutal comments, Handon cannot help but let out a heavy sigh. The feedback is completely toxic. Yet, despite all the intense backlash, the stock sold out instantly. Dunguk finally chimes in with his honest thoughts. Frankly speaking, I still cannot bring myself to believe any of this. If this turns out to be a scam, I am filing a lawsuit immediately. Trying to hide his nervous excitement, he adds the early access starts in 2 weeks, and since I already bought one, I will unbox and review it then. Handon does not hesitate to throw cold water right in his face. I am really looking forward to seeing whether we meet up in a Sealan or in a courtroom in 2 weeks. That sarcastic remark prompts Handon to throw a tough question right back. What if it actually turns out to be real? Dunguk chuckles mockingly, replying with absolute confidence that if it is real, he will quit tech reviews to become a full-time Aslan YouTuber. 2 weeks later, inside the world of Sealan, this beautiful dreamland is slowly dying with every single passing moment. Kim Chin-woo looks up at the vast sky, letting out a soft sigh and muttering to himself like some wise world-weary old sage. They are finally here, the heroes of Earth. Hagot flashes a bright, warm smile and delivers his line, "Welcome to Avon Tavern. Brave adventurers, I am Hagot, the master of this establishment." Tia immediately cuts him off, shouting in direct criticism, "Hang on, Tavern Master Hagot. Your acting is way too stiff. You need to make it sound far more natural." Next, Tia throws in a pretty hilarious demand. Since a tavern keeper is supposed to have a big, round belly, starting today, you need to eat 6 meals a day. Hagot does not argue at all, simply nodding and replying, "Yes, I understand." Tia raises an eyebrow, turning her gaze to the left. Next, we have Thompson playing the role of the blacksmith. "Have you memorized all your lines yet?" Tom stands at full attention. "Of course I have, director." "Perfect. Get ready to action." On her cue, he lets out an exaggerated laugh, swinging his hammer high. "Oops, my hand slipped. The sword shattered because the enhancement failed, and all your materials are completely gone." That dramatic acting absolutely thrills Tia, who cheers. "Great, now add a bit more sarcasm to it." Thompson pauses to ask, "But wait, the upgrade success rate is 99%. Do we really need to fail on purpose?" She looks down at the script in her hands. That is exactly how we get them hooked. Plus, that is how the game is designed. Hearing that, he mutters that it sounds just like a gambling addiction. Tia nods immediately, spot on. Suddenly, Kim Chin-woo walks over, praising her for doing a fantastic job. Recognizing his voice, she beams with joy. Master Chin-woo. He then calmly asks for an update on their current progress. The heroes of Earth will be arriving very soon. Is the magic tower operating smoothly? Tia quickly reports, yes, we can currently generate up to 10,000 physical bodies simultaneously, though exceeding that count will require expanding our facility. He thoughtfully rubs his chin as expected. Securing the mana stones is going to be our biggest hurdle. Tia quickly chimes in, agreeing that they must resolve this issue to keep their final plan running smoothly. Kim Chin-woo stays silent, lost in thought. We definitely need more forces, but there is no need to rush. For now, we can gradually claim the eroded lands step by step alongside the heroes who have arrived. Let us just focus on the positive developments right in front of us. Saying this, he glances around the room, quietly taking in the scene and assessing their situation. The energy here is completely different from when they were all slowly fading away, utterly hopeless in the face of despair. This is the exact spark of hope breathing new life into them. With that thought, he turns back to her. Are there any other problems left? Tia closes her script, replying in a quiet voice, we do not have a single knight suited to play the role of Leon. Kim Chin-fu shrugs, just find any decent knight with great swordsmanship to do it. But Tia immediately starts rambling with absolute infatuation. According to the design concept, he is an incredibly handsome man who looks like the literal incarnation of the Holy Sword. We cannot just pick anyone. Since he is the central figure leading this entire story, we absolutely must cast an exceptionally good-looking man. Hearing this, his face turns slightly serious. It is true most of their knights feel like rugged, battle-hardened warriors rather than pretty boys. Even the most attractive knight in the entire guard can barely be called decent-looking. Kim Chin-woo starts getting a real headache. To make players fall in love with Aisalan, immerse themselves here, hate the corruption, and fight to protect this land, the very heart of everything must be Prince Leon. With things getting so incredibly complicated, he mutters, is there really no other option? Before Tia can even open her mouth, Tirich lets out a soft chuckle. Actually, there is a way. Hearing her voice, they turn as she walks over to Kim Chin-woo with a mischievous grin, proposing that they simply create a custom body and let their master possess it. Even though master is not technically a sword master, you possess an incredibly deep understanding of swordsmanship. Hearing this, a sudden chill runs down his spine, and honestly, looking at her suspicious grin, you just know she has some major ulterior motives here. Kim Chin-woo clears his throat with a dry cough, quickly changing the subject. Well, that idea actually sounds pretty decent. Let us create the body based on the sketch first, and we can discuss the details later. Right then, Tirich interrupts. What kind of person do you take me for? Her face suddenly looks incredibly gloomy as she adds, I have already finished creating it, so please follow me this way. Kim Chin-woo and Tia follow her straight to another room. The moment they step inside, Tia gasps in absolute shock. Are all of these things actually puppets? Kim Chin-woo glances around the room, dryly commenting that this place still looks incredibly creepy. Just then, her eyes catch sight of something interesting. Tia eagerly steps closer. Wait, this doll is actually pretty cute, is it not? Tirich explains a totally flat voice that is a childhood version of Master, custom made to fit perfectly in my arms. She excitedly points at it, noting that the absolute highlight is those adorable chubby cheeks. Tia happily lifts the doll high in the air. Oh, this is a true masterpiece. You should totally transfer into this body, Master. Kim Chin-woo immediately rejects the idea without a single second of hesitation. There is absolutely no way I am transferring into that thing. She quickly tries to tease him. Oh, come on, why not? I promise to completely pamper you. With a highly worried look on his face, he answers that yes, that is exactly the problem. They will clearly suffocate to death. Right then, Tirich speaks up from beside him, excitedly announcing that Lion's body is right here. She tells them not to be surprised when they see it, leaving Kim Chin-woo completely clueless at first. What does she mean by that? Tirich reaches out and slowly starts pulling back the cloth covering it. With a sudden yank, she pulls it off to reveal a divine beauty that does not even belong to this world. Tia and Kim Chin-woo stare intently, waiting to see this masterpiece. And, as the cloth falls, the body glows with a faint light. Tia's eyes widen as she lunges forward in pure excitement, saying it is absolutely perfect and even cooler than the Leon she imagined. Tirich stands there looking incredibly proud of her creation, ready to show off. She boasts about working non-stop for a whole month with zero rest. With bones crafted from actual dragon bone and muscles made from molten exceed synthetic fibers, its physical capabilities are on a whole different level. She adds that she spent her very last coin just to craft the gear, which is a masterpiece made from Lord Helv's scales by 12 dwarf craftsmen she hired. Hearing this, Kim Chin-woo immediately catches on to a highly suspicious detail. How on earth did that stubborn Helv pig willingly hand over his precious scales? But he quickly brushes that thought aside and takes his seat, saying they should test the connection now to see if it actually works. The staff in Kim Chin-Yu's hand begins to glow as Tai Rich and Tatia watch from the side in pure excitement. Moments later, inside the newly constructed body of Leon, his eyes slowly open for the first time. Meanwhile, in Seoul, 10 minutes before the launch of Elan Saga, Hale squeals with excitement. Holding the standard version of the Soul Link gear tightly in her hands, her eyes are absolutely glowing with anticipation. Glancing over at her rapidly exploding chat, Hale casually explains that she wanted to buy the Pro version, but worried it might be a scam. She went with the standard one first. With that, she happily puts the headset on. Once she switches to her streaming settings, the chat box immediately floats right in front of her eyes. She excitedly wonders if she can use this cool device for her daily streams, letting out a cheerful shout. It is 10 o'clock now. Reading the on-screen instructions, she flusteredly tells her viewers that she can finally connect. Even so, Hale takes a second to gently adjust the Soul Link headset on her head. She decides to log in right now and see if this virtual reality game is actually the real deal or just a massive scam like the internet rumors say. Heart pounding with nervous excitement, she presses the button, and a very strange light suddenly erupts right behind her. Completely bewildered, she gasps out, "What on earth is this?" At that exact moment, the hero summoning circle begins emitting the very same bright light as a female mage seriously announces the arrival. "The first hero has arrived. Let us begin," the mage declares. Hale rubs her eyes, feeling incredibly dazed as she looks around the bizarre space. She startledly wonders where she is and immediately tries to update her viewers. She asks her stream if anyone can see this, completely shocked that she is actually inside virtual reality. She then starts inspecting the hovering interface in front of her, which looks exactly like a character creation screen. Hale mutters to herself that she can choose between human, elf, dwarf, or orc. She excitedly starts adjusting the settings, choosing the prettiest race, an elf, while jokingly making her chest slider a little bit larger. Right after confirming her choices, she is instantly warped to a new location. The very first thing she does is look down at herself, excitedly showing off to her stream that she has actually turned into an elf. She completely ignores her wildly exploding chat room. Looking around in sheer awe, she realizes this must be the actual Elan Saga world, excitedly clutching her face and screaming that she is absolutely in love with this place. She is truly living inside virtual reality now, but she has absolutely no idea where to go first. Just then, a hand suddenly points ahead, letting her know the starting village of Avon is right over there, making her instinctively turn and say thanks. The exact second she lays eyes on him, her eyes widen in shock as Kim Chin-Yu stands in the sunlight looking almost like he is glowing. He calmly asks if she wants to tag along since she does not know the way. With a completely straight face, he introduces himself as Lion. Meanwhile, the event village is incredibly lively as a brown-haired player enthusiastically claps in the street, calling Kim Chin-Yu an absolute god, while a nearby black-haired player tries to recruit him. He asks if he wants to head out and grind some mid-level mobs together. In another corner of the town, a lost newbie actively walks around, asking people if they happen to know where exactly they are. He mutters about fighting the heavenly demon before waking up here, but the person he asked just stares at him blankly, wondering if this is some kind of meme. Meanwhile, Hale finally enters the town, completely blown away by the sight. She cannot believe how crowded this place is already. Looking around awkwardly, she realizes she has no idea where to go next, but then decides she can just ask a guard, excitedly running straight over to one. When she calls out to him, the guard is slightly startled to see a hero standing right there. He quickly clears his throat, mentally telling himself to stay calm and just stick to the script as naturally as possible. Taking a deep breath, the guard puts on his warmest smile and welcomes her to the event village, politely asking for her name first. She pauses for a brief second, repeating the question to herself. She quickly smiles and asks if this is the screen to set a nickname, happily deciding on the name Habu. The moment she says it, a game notification pops up, and she excitedly realizes she officially has an in-game name. Look at this, she is so amazed by how real everything feels that she actually asks if he is a player, but the guard just mechanically repeats his welcome line, proving he is a pure NPC. With that, she naturally concludes that he must be a genuine NPC, so she awkwardly asks him if he has any quests or tasks for her to do. He points ahead, flatly praising her as a true hero for seeking out quests the moment she arrives. The guard calmly guides her to head straight over to the Adventurer Guild, prompting her to happily cheer and thank him. Seeing her chat explode over how handsome the guard is, she cannot help but agree. Then she suddenly remembers Kim Chin-Yu, recalling how he just walked off the very second they arrived at the village gate. Judging by his mysterious vibe, she tells her viewers that she really does not think he is a player. To keep things interesting, she keeps chatting with her audience, saying he felt more like an NPC. She figures she will get more clues about him once she starts her quests. Up above, the soul of Kim Chin-Yu is watching the entire scene, noting that the player's reaction to Leon is actually pretty good. He chuckles, thinking that idiot would be thrilled if he heard this. He then activates his ability to scan her status, wanting to see if she has any useful soul traits, a unique power that all Earthlings possess. A soul's true nature is built from the total years a person has lived and all the experiences they have accumulated over time. These traits do not show up on the player's regular status window, but unlocking talents inside them speeds up their growth rate thanks to Aeon's unique skill. After finishing his evaluation, Kim Chin-yu finally gets a clear picture. As expected, most players only have D or E rank traits, but his eyes suddenly flash with genuine surprise. It turns out Habel has a social evolution trait, which is an amazing A rank trait for a brand new player. He suddenly recalls their conversation from not too long ago, remembering that she mentioned being a streamer named Habel. Her long years of streaming must have forged that powerful trait, and Kim Chin-yu immediately senses her outstanding potential. This social evolution trait does not just work on humans, it also affects monsters, gods, and even spirits. If she nurtures that trait properly, she could easily lead the way in purifying this place. Meanwhile, Hale has finally made her way to the Adventurer Guild branch in the event village. She curiously pushes the door open, wondering if this is the actual guild. The interior is so dazzlingly gorgeous that she gasps in awe. Right in the next second, a highly enthusiastic voice rings out, welcoming her. Tia plays the receptionist role flawlessly, introducing herself as the registration officer and welcoming the hero to the branch. Standing there, Hale is completely stunned by how incredibly beautiful the woman in front of her is. She is so gorgeous, and I bet you would fall for her friendly smile too. Tia warmly explains that joining the guild offers great benefits, reassuring the newbie player not to worry about her status. She immediately rushes forward, eagerly saying she wants to sign up right away. Tia thoughtfully helps Habel complete the registration, and once it is done, she pulls out a heavy bag and places it on the table. Hero of Acadia, your adventurer registration is officially complete. Please check your schedule and do your best to achieve your goals. Oh, and here is your starter gear pack. The girl asks in confusion, starter gear? Tia does not hesitate to list everything out for her an appraisal book. A dimensional bag, your inventory, and some starting support funds. We also provide basic weapons at the armory, so please go pick them up. Hao smiles happily and thanks the pretty receptionist. She pats her head with a warm smile, replying, "Thank you, sweetie." Kim Chin-yu is still floating nearby, quietly observing the room. That is when he overhears Tia using her telepathy to boast about meeting a hero named Hab who is so cute she just wants to torment her. She gets so overly excited that her thoughts completely spiral out of control. Tia wants to plunge the poor girl into despair just to watch her cry. Are all these summoned heroes actually this twisted? Who knows? But we even managed to drag a real combat veteran from another world this time. Kim Chin-yu asks in absolute wait, what do you mean by a veteran? And right on cue, look who just walked in, 3 of the absolute weirdest characters you will ever see. The buff pink-haired guy proudly shouts his name, while the blonde guy grumbles about how boring everything is. The old man in their group is just as loud, demanding the waiter bring out noodles and salted wine immediately. This bizarre crew completely freezes Tia in place, leaving her to awkwardly call for help. She tells Chin-yu that some incredibly bizarre people have just arrived. Meanwhile, the pink-haired giant blabbers about having no content, prompting a completely random reply of well done from Kim Chin-yu. Tia blinks in confusion at Chairman Chin-yu, but a second later, the group starts causing total chaos. She panics, screaming at them not to eat the request forms, to stay away from the stairs, and that there are absolutely no secret passages down there. Your head is going to split open. I am not your sister, and I am definitely not your mother. Watching this chaos, Habio comments with a wry laugh that you basically get a special title just for breaking Tia's brain like this. It has been 3 weeks and we still cannot find anyone brave enough to go mess with the guild receptionist. Poor Tia is so utterly devastated by these wild antics that she can only manage a weak, defeated smile. She wraps her arms around herself, muttering that one day she will get to witness these proud heroes breaking down into bitter, ugly tears. The wicked smile on Tia's face right now is honestly pretty terrifying. If she can actually see that day come, she is willing to sacrifice every single strand of their hair. Meanwhile, a completely new order is established across the globe, with news channels constantly broadcasting deep, formal bows of apology and correction. I want to apologize for my actions from the very beginning. Actually, even before that, I had my doubts. My reckless, over-the-line comments and unverified claims caused a massive wave of public backlash, and for that, I am truly sorry. From this moment on, I will deeply reflect on my behavior. The situation becomes so incredibly severe that multiple nations scramble to broadcast emergency updates on a phenomenon they had never even heard of until now. Deep down, everyone realizes that if they do not adapt to this massive global shift, they will be left behind forever. It is a harsh reality they have absolutely no choice but to accept. Exily, 1 week after Alanga officially launches, Kim Chin-yu walks into the office with a cheerful greeting to everyone. His team immediately smiles and greets him back. One excited employee asks if he noticed the massive line of delivery trucks parked right outside. He nods quickly, noting that the street is absolutely packed with them again today. Dong-sun laughs, admitting that even the youngest staff members had to shut off their phones. The company is getting slammed with endless calls from people begging for a single Soul Link slot. Kim Chin-yu laughs and tells everyone they did an amazing job before asking when they can roll out the next batch of inventory. Dong-sun slowly explains that the second pre-order wave will launch exactly as planned. The first batch sold 50,000 units, but they might need to scale up. Hearing this, Kim Chin-yu instantly calculates 50,000 heroes. With that kind of manpower, they can finally launch their very first crusade into the erosion zone. He smiles eagerly, knowing it is time to start prepping and release the main story update ahead of schedule. Dongsun asks with extreme excitement if Leon is finally making his grand debut, while another female employee squeals that Leon is almost here. Dongsun then eagerly asks the boss to review the official merchandise proposals for him. They already have acrylic keychains, body pillows, and figures ready to go. The female staffer begs for one of each, before the scene cuts to Kim Chin-yu staring into a mirror, wondering if this Leon guy is really that bad. Raising an eyebrow, he has to admit the character is ridiculously handsome. But out of nowhere, Tai Rich is suddenly standing right behind him, staring so intensely that it actually gets pretty awkward. Kim Chin-yu sighs, telling her to knock before entering, but she just steps closer and whispers dramatically about Prince Leon the tragic traveler. She claims those sorrowful eyes must hold a deeply hidden, heartbreaking story. Kim Chin-yu groans, asking if she plans to stay in character the entire time she is in his office. Before he can even finish, Tai Rich dramatically leaps right into his face. She strikes a theatrical pose, begging the sorrowful traveler to hear her tragic tale. Tai Rich is completely lost in her Leon cosplay, asking her savior to listen closely, while Kim Chin-yu just facepalms in pure agony. He begs her to drop the voice, rubbing his temples in utter exhaustion. Trying to change the subject, he asks if there are any decent hunting grounds nearby for the new heroes to level up. Tai Rich pauses to think before explaining that as far as she knows, there are none outside Chan Shich's territory. Hearing the bad news, he calmly turns around and prepares to take matters into his own hands. Realizing they cannot borrow a private hunting ground from the Doom region, Kim Chin-yu heads out alone. He ventures deep into the heart of the Doom territory, beneath a sky where a blood-red moon hangs ominously. Down on the ground, a swarm of monsters immediately surrounds him, but his powerful shield blocks their vicious claws. Frowning at the beasts, Kim Chin-yu mutters about how much he absolutely despises this eerie place. Kim Chin-yu raises his staff, casting a bright flare of magic. He shouts out to the darkness, asking why the host is refusing to welcome a guest, his expression hardening as he points the weapon forward. He literally rings the doorbell with a massive blast of fire that triggers a devastating explosion. Watch how the blast completely carves a giant valley straight through the land like a paved road. He calls it his great doorbell spell. Suddenly, a swirling vortex of purple energy condenses in the air as a sinister voice cackles, noting that even without all the noise, it already knew he had arrived. The Lord of Corrosion manifests, smiling down mockingly at Kim Chin-yu as he asks if the human has finally returned to offer up his soul. Kim Chin-yu remembers how the noble priests of Ella and the Holy Knights all fell before this terrifying beast. Their souls were brutally torn apart and corrupted, turning them into eternal slaves bound to the core of corrosion. He grips his staff and charges forward, recalling how he was forced to fight completely alone all this time. It was an unbearable, deeply solitary war of attrition, one that ultimately ended in his defeat. The entity cackles, telling him to accept his fate and yield. It sneers, asking how much longer that pathetic barrier of his will keep him safe. But a confident smirk slowly plays on Kim Chin-yu's lips. This reaction completely throws off the Lord of Corrosion, who demands to know what is so funny. Looking up, Kim Chin-yu tells him that he simply feels pity for the monster, pointing a finger right at it. He explains that the boss is completely bound to the center of its own domain. If it had devoured enough land to raise its rank, things might be different, but it has failed to do even that. Furious, the beast roars, asking if the bastard came all this way just to mock him. Turning to walk away, Chin-yu casually replies that he is way too busy to waste his time on something like that. Scanning his surroundings, Kim Chin-yu tells himself that his target must be around here somewhere. Peering down, he spots a faint outline of a village, teeming with twisted, hideous-looking corrupted goblins wandering about. Floating closer, the Lord of Corrosion sneers that trying to wipe out those creatures is completely pointless. He tells Chin-yu that no matter how powerful his magic is, they will just respawn inside this zone anyway. Kim Chin-yu raises his staff high. If I were alone, that would indeed be the case. He slams his staff down, unleashing an explosion of power as a massive magic circle rains giant thunderbolts onto the battlefield below. With a casual snap of Kim Chin-yu's fingers, the stunned goblins look up in absolute shock before the entire magic circle suddenly launches everything straight up into the sky. The astonished Erosion Lord yells out space magic. What on earth are you plotting? Kim Chin-yu waves his hand casually, replying, I am just borrowing a few. Remember to restock them later. The monster curses in pure rage. He stares back at the Erosion Lord and says, from now on, you are the mid-boss of the saga episode 1, main quest. Hope you put on a pretty good show. Kim Chin-yu starts walking away but suddenly stops as if remembering something. Clenching his fist, he stretches his arm out. Since I borrowed your stuff, it is only fair that I pay a fee. The Erosion Lord glares at his hand in deep confusion. Kim Chin-yu proudly flips him a friendly middle finger, telling him to keep the change. Gritting his teeth, the furious Lord growls, you bastard. It unleashes a barrage of attacks, but Kim Chin-yu simply deploys a shield and walks off with a calm wave. I will kill you, get back here you damn mage. The scene quickly cuts to a lush green forest. Walking ahead, Namgun asks excitedly, a goblin raid? We finally got ourselves a real decent quest. Following right behind him, Buddha jumps over the wall, quickly replies. The chat says these goblins drop rare swords. Namgun keeps marching forward, totally ignoring the chilling aura freezing the ground. They should be popping up soon, but the deeper they go, the colder it gets. Looking up, Habeo is pretty confused. What is this? Why did the sky suddenly turn pitch black? Meanwhile, the live stream chat is exploding with comments. Is that boss monster finally showing up? That guy is terrifying. I am going to hold Habeo. Another user points out their dirty intentions. Du Jin Nundong senses something is off. Suddenly, a hideous purple foot stomps onto the ground. Red-eyed goblins wielding crude weapons emerge, marching straight toward them. Namgun watches in utter shock, questioning why these creatures are so massive and purple. Are they elite monsters? Suddenly, one of the beasts roars in pure anger. Xyz, seeing this, he arrogantly draws his sword and takes a fighting stance, boasting that they are still just pathetic, tiny creatures he can easily finish in 3 moves. But there's no time for his arrogant moves. The monster attacks instantly. Talk about immediate karma. His eyes widen in total shock as a deadly slash rips right through him. His 2 teammates are terrified as they watch their companion fall. Furious, Buddha jumps over the wall, swings his staff to cast a massive fire spell. Take this, you bastards, fireball! The huge magic circle triggers a pretty big explosion. Buddha jumps over the wall, smiles with supreme confidence. Did that hit? The stream chat goes absolutely wild. But wait, suddenly, out of the thick smoke, a massive blade thrusts forward, and the goblin completely impales him through the chest. The chat goes into absolute chaos. Wait, why is a mage trying to chant a resurrection spell? Hansa comments that healing and revival spells are the ultimate truth in every single game. Is he actually stupid? Hale nervously raises her bow, stammering, are they all dead yet? The chat gets even more heated. They are way too fast. These must be elite monsters. This is bad. Run, Habeo, run. What is that guy even doing? If you die, you cannot log back in for a whole hour. This game is insane. Somehow even more terrifying than a horror movie. Staring at the hideous creatures, she realizes these are no ordinary goblins and they have 0 chance of winning. Suddenly, the beast lunges straight at her. Panicking, Habeo screams at the top of her lungs. Out of nowhere, a sharp sword light slashes through the air as a figure leaps forward to shield her. Before the goblins can even process what is happening, they are instantly sliced to pieces. Staring in shock at the back of her savior, she watches him turn around with a warm smile. We meet again, hero. Kim Chin-yu offers a bright grin and asks if everyone is alright. Think of world-class luxury watches that run on highly complex parts fitting together with absolute precision. Meticulously crafted by master artisans, these tiny gears function without a single error to prove the true value of a masterpiece. Right now, Leon's body is exactly like that, possessing a perfect physique intricately woven with 24 layers of high-grade magic through the sheer dedication and skill of the artisans from a silent. Radiant light and sweet fragrance burst from 21 other active spells as he glows with divine energy. Blinded by his sheer brilliance, she quickly covers her eyes. The chat frantically spams her to snap out of it. Suddenly waking up from her daze, she sees a donation of 10-1 with a message telling her to wake up and stop drooling. How embarrassing, she did not even realize she was staring. Kim Chin-yu, looking incredibly handsome, approaches and asks if she is alright or hurt anywhere. Meanwhile, the stream chat goes absolutely chaotic. Weren't you just a keyboard warrior a second ago? Habeo stammers out her response quickly. Yes, I am fine. He swiftly casts a spell, telling her he will heal her just in case. Suddenly, a brilliant golden light wraps around her entire body, catching her completely off guard. What? The chat erupts even further. A healing spell? This is insane. How can anyone learn this outside the training center? Can we learn that move too? What on earth is going on? Blushing, Habeo looks down at her body, realizing she is not actually hurt but can still feel an incredible surge of warm energy. Suddenly, she screams in pure excitement at a massive donation of 10,000 won. Habeo goes absolutely crazy with joy. Man, Rickon just sent 100,000 won. Here is my ultimate signature wink for you. But then she suddenly remembers Kim Chin-yu is standing right there watching and she instantly freezes. His voice drops. Oh dear. Kim Chin-yu quickly places his hand on her head to cast another spell, gently telling her she seems to have suffered a head injury and he will cure her. How tragic. She immediately protests, no, I do not have a head injury. Suddenly a notification pops up, shocking her as the chat joins in on the joke. An anonymous donor sends 10,000 won, commenting this is going to be hilarious. Another anonymous donor sends 50,000 won, and someone else promises 200,000 if she pulls it off. Oh my gosh. Kim Chin-yu stares at Habeo, silently thinking she must have really damaged her head. Suddenly, a system window pops up. The Grand Mage has sponsored the quest. Habeo drops her jaw in complete disbelief. What? 5 million won? I honestly cannot blame her for dying of absolute embarrassment right here. Blushing furiously, she forced herself to do the awkward bunny dance for her sponsor, only to hide her face in total shame immediately after. Don't look at me like that, she begs. Watching from the sides, Kim Chin-yu is deeply amazed by the pure power of capitalism and money. Smiling, he extends his hand and gently tells her that her head definitely needs proper treatment at the temple. For now, let us head to a safe place first. Crying internally, Habeo has no idea how to explain herself anymore, desperately pleading that she did not actually hit her head. And right there, the legendary stream moment of the year is born, voted by both the viewers and the entire platform. Best clip of the year, all thanks to the Grand Mage's 5 million won donation. Night falls, and Habeo quietly follows behind. Looking at him, she cannot help but think even his back is incredibly handsome. Suddenly, he turns to look at her, smiling gently as he warns her that they have arrived and to watch her step. Blushing deeply, Habeo replies, "Yes, thank you so much for worrying about me." The stream chat explodes once again. Is using a cute baby voice in front of handsome guys scientifically proven or what? But wait, Leon does not even have a player status window. He is actually the main character? With those looks and stats, he must be. Kim Chin-yu turns around with a reassuring smile, saying the goblins probably will not be able to follow them here. She smiles back, bowing a full 180 degrees to thank him for saving her life. "I know it is a bit late," she says, "but my name is Habeo." Smiling, Kim Chin-yu extends his hand to introduce himself as Leon, a traveler, quickly making up an excuse that he is wandering to investigate the erosion. That was when he discovered monsters corrupted by erosion appearing around this area. He wants to believe the magical barrier is still holding strong, but a dark plot might be unfolding. Hearing this, Habeo quickly asks, "Are those purple goblins mutated from erosion too?" He quickly responds, "Yes, they've been corrupted by the erosion." Observing Habel, Kim Chin-yu's eyes suddenly light up with excitement. He triggers his appraisal skill, thinking her affinity has definitely reached A rank. She's going to be the absolute center of this whole expedition. Stretching his hand out, Kim Chin-yu offers a warm invitation. "My own strength is simply not enough on its own. I beg of you, O brave warrior, please defeat the corrupted goblins." Right then, the system screen flashes with a brand new quest announcement, Looming Conspiracy. Her affinity has increased and the main story has finally unlocked. Habel's eyes widen in sheer disbelief. A main quest is actually appearing, but wait, do I really have to put together an entire subjugation force? She starts calculating, is gathering 200 people even realistic? Everyone seems so busy with their own stuff, like picking herbs or just wandering around. Clenching her fists tightly, Habel makes up her mind. "No, I have to make this happen because Leon himself is asking me to." Her hands grab his firmly, her face turning as red as a ripe tomato. "I will do my absolute best," Habel replies. After giving her that very first mission, Chin-yu playing his character Leon gets right to work. Standing behind her, Kim Chin-yu cheers loudly, telling the warriors he'll back them up. Everyone happily shouts back their thanks. By the end of the day, he even smiles and praises the female players, telling them how impressive it is that they gathered so many herbs. Even the alchemists of Ben couldn't match this. She's absolutely thrilled that Leon praised her and even helped gather the herbs. Meanwhile, Kim Chin-yu brings out a massive sack of supplies and speaks up. "These are various potions and useful items. Just a small token of my appreciation for our brave warriors." The players receiving the bags are actually quite worried. Is it really okay to just give all this away? "Leon, you won't have anything left for yourself." But distributing the items, Kim Chin-yu just offers a warm, generous smile. "I'm completely fine," he says. "After all, don't I still have all of you?" Soon, heartwarming stories about Leon start taking over the online gaming forums. One girl who was once too terrified to even leave her own room kept thinking about him. He had called her a true warrior, so she decided to gather all her courage and live up to that title. The moment she finally opened her door, her mother hugged her and burst into tears. She felt so guilty, her heart aching to see her mother blame herself. She whispered to herself, "I am a warrior, so I won't live a pathetic life anymore. I will get a job and pay off all my debts. And since so many new players are joining Island now, I want to look after players who are struggling just like me." Netizens are loving this, calling her a true warrior who found her courage. This is the perfect wholesome loop of playing this game. Lord Leon is basically a god. Looking at his tablet, Kim Chin-yu grins. All that walking around and acting was definitely worth the effort. This is where his master plan really starts moving. They're motivated, the vibe is perfect, and the expedition force will be ready in no time. Should I speed up the schedule a bit? He starts heading off somewhere. The door slowly swings open, and Kim Chin-yu steps inside a brightly glowing room. Tai Rich looks up in surprise and greets him, "You're back, master." He walks over to ask about the situation, checking on the status of the control device. She softly replies that it is perfectly connected. Using the magic tower as a proxy, we can control all the details from here. Kim Chin-yu smiles in satisfaction. "Excellent, I can feel the erosion core's energy pulsing behind this temporary core." He looks up, thinking that if goblins appear more frequently, players will form the expedition force much faster. Without turning around, Kim Chin-yu commands Tia, "Bring Hatman, Heron, and the key NPCs here." She quickly agrees, asking why they're being gathered. A wicked grin spreads across Kim Chin-yu's face. With a crazed look in his eyes, he tells her it's time for them to turn into goblins. Soon, Hatman and Heron lean in with excited faces, asking if he called for them. They've heard there's a task for Arsalan and promise to help with everything they've got. Kim Chin-yu helplessly sighs. "Don't get so close to my face, please sit down." The two of them quickly comply, eagerly asking what kind of job it is and promising to do their best. He looks at the two of them and asks if Tai hadn't mentioned anything yet. He says he'll explain once Tia arrives, but suddenly, a voice right behind him catches him completely off guard. "I'm right here, Chin-yu," Tia mutters, walking in with deep dark circles under her eyes. It's so creepy that he literally screams. "What on earth is wrong with you? Seriously, is invading personal space some kind of new trend now? You nearly scared me to death." He looks at her exhausted, messy state and asks what happened. Tia sarcastically repeats his question back to him, "What's wrong? Are you seriously asking that?" She is absolutely boiling with anger as she starts ranting about what she had to go through. Why does that stupid magic tower master keep making useless titles anyway? And that damn hero. I mean, that player told me if I did a good job, I'd get a title. He spent the entire day at the guild playing stupid pranks right in front of me, stealing and causing chaos. Kim Chin-yu tells her to calm down, but she just keeps screaming in rage. "Please stop wasting our precious magic stone energy on such ridiculous things." "Fine, I get it, alright?" Seeing her throw a tantrum, he can only offer a sheepish apology. Turning back to Heron and Hatman, Kim Chin-yu asks how things have been going for them lately. Heron looks down, explaining that players are starting to suspect his true identity. He was just minding his own business and doing his job, but now they're openly gossiping about me, so maybe I should just wipe them all out? Hatman chimes in too, complaining that the players don't know a single thing but act like total experts. The atmosphere in the room instantly turns incredibly gloomy and depressing. Tia looks up and asks why he summoned them anyway. Kim Chin-yu asks why she didn't just tell them. She says she wanted to see their reactions up close, prompting him to call her truly one of a kind. He then pulls out a gaming controller, telling her to take it. Tia inspects it, asking what it is. He explains it's a goblin control device. The three of them will possess goblins and slaughter players to help them gain experience. Hearing this, she practically cries and tries to shove it back. "You want us to go so far as to control those filthy creatures, and we have to get beaten up and killed by players? This is just too much." But he quickly stops her, explaining it's all for Arsil. The players need to face crushing defeat, so the expedition force gets formed much faster. "Wait, watch how fast her mood changes here. Actually, this does look kind of fun," she says. "How do we use it?" Kim Chin-yu is completely speechless but explains anyway. The left D-pad is for moving, while pressing the right buttons triggers specific actions. The controller is super simplified, so it won't be hard at all. He waves his hand, turning on the display screen for her to try. Tia looks up, testing out the movement. "Like this?" Seeing the goblin on the screen move makes her totally excited. "It's actually moving." Heron leans in, completely fascinated, saying it looks incredibly cool. Kim Chin-yu smiles and praises her, telling her she's doing a great job. Tia is absolutely loving this. "Leave it to me," she says. "I'll give those players a massive motivation boost so we can gather a huge expedition force." Heron looks over and asks if she is enjoying this a bit too much. Tia quickly replies that it feels amazing, adding that she's always wanted to control fully conscious people. Hearing this, Heron immediately clears his throat, saying he is mostly alone and has tons of free time. Hatman quickly chimes in, bragging that strategy and tactics are his absolute specialties as well. Kim Chin-yu smiles warmly and says he'll trust them to handle this task. They are all holding game consoles and looking absolutely thrilled. The characters on screen can even backstep. Kim Chin-yu smiles, thinking that maybe he is not so lonely anymore. Watching them laugh and play together, Kim Chin-yu is completely speechless. He thinks they are just cute, tiny creatures, and having them around actually makes his life pretty good. He quickly snaps a screenshot of this warm moment. He instantly sets the group photo as his phone wallpaper without a single second of hesitation. Seeing everyone gathered together like this brings a genuine warm smile to his face. He knows that once the corrupted goblins are defeated, the lowest level invasion will be triggered. That will officially kick off Chapter 1 of the game's main storyline. Setting his phone down, he smiles and wonders if they can time the second batch of Soul Link sales to match up with that event. Suddenly, a loud slam echoes. Everyone at the table leaps up in unison, performs the exact same silent routine, and then scatters in different directions without saying a word. Kim Chin-yu watches them walk away, completely questioning his sanity and wondering what on earth just happened. Sometime later in the city of Allison, shouting echoes through the crowded streets. Recruiters are calling for top rankers to join the Goblin Subjugation Squad and wipe out those pesky monsters. People are hyping each other up to go together, talking about the Adventurers Guild recruiting for Roven. Everyone is determined to crush those monsters, and some are bragging about securing their spots. Some players are crying over 10 hours of hard work going to waste. Standing in the middle of this chaotic crowd, Kim Chin-yu is left totally bewildered by the absolute madness. Breaking into a cold sweat, he asks what on earth is happening out here. Suddenly, a hideous goblin charges forward as players call out to each other, shouting for support and telling their teammates to leave the target to them. A warrior struggles hard to defend himself, wondering if the monsters have gone mad. He looks up in absolute shock, questioning since when goblins could cast magic, just as another goblin leaps down from above right toward his head. Wasbio. Tia bursts out laughing, asking how they like that. The team high-fives each other to celebrate their flawless teamwork, while Kim Chin-yu realizes the three of them have been behind this entire scheme. Hey-Rich turns around with a deeply exhausted face, asking if he has finally arrived. Looking at these game addicts, Kim Chin-yu notes their incredibly pale faces, wondering if they have been playing this game without any rest. They do not look like they are training heroes at all. Rather, they are torturing them. Must be his imagination. Another thrilled shout echoes as they catch yet another foolish hero. Hearing this, Kim Chin-yu is now absolutely certain that she is indeed tormenting them for fun. He steps closer and asks if the goblin database was just updated. Tia ignores him, completely focused on her screen while muttering for everyone to die. The display shows a level 10 ribbon for a hero killer, categorizing them as the corrupted goblin race from the invasion. The battle logs show they defeated Jongman Dudok 24 minutes ago, a random hero 12 minutes ago, and the bear-slaying girl just a minute ago. Staring at the screen, he internally begs that the hero killer title was not actually given by the Mage Tower, wondering just how many poor players she has slaughtered. Meanwhile, Hallen turns to Tia and suggests that it is finally time to execute their next move. She happily agrees, admitting she almost forgot the most important part of the plan. On the screen, the goblin slowly walks over to the defeated player lying on the ground. It stomps its foot right onto the hero's head, mockingly waving its weapon in the air. Other players watching this display are absolutely furious, pointing out how the monsters are disrespecting their fallen ally. Players curse out the crazy goblins while Tia is in absolute ecstasy, laughing at how helpless the heroes are against them. Standing right next to her, Kim Chin-yu can only watch this wild behavior in complete speechless exhaustion. He wonders where on earth they learned such toxic trolling methods. Smiling, he realizes this massive provocation is working flawlessly as furious players all over the place begin raising their weapons. And this is where things get truly exciting for everyone. Returning to his handsome form with a confident smirk, Kim Chin-yu steps forward, knowing the real show is finally starting. Leon wears a determined smile, declaring it is time to set off. Meanwhile, Thompson stares at his friend, asking if Uzugam is truly ready to go all the way. Uzugam stands straight with a scowl, telling him he talks far too much and that he is fully prepared to start. Thompson bursts into laughter at his friend's sheer confidence. Raising his massive hammer, Thompson sneers, saying they will see if that confident face remains after the process. He lets out a loud shout and slams the hammer down on the iron shield on the table, causing a blinding burst of light to explode. Split second later, a loud boom rings out as the light fades. Thompson chuckles mockingly, claiming his hand slipped and apologizing. Suddenly, the system displays an enhancement failure message, leaving Uzugam standing there in utter disbelief. Thompson cheerfully adds that he should be glad the shield did not break, calling him lucky. Realizing the terrible truth, Uzugam clutches his head and lets out a painful scream. He weeps over his lost +4 shield. Walking over, Habil asks if he is seriously trying to enhance gear right before their big expedition. Uzugam immediately turns to her, sobbing and begging for comfort. He begs her to comfort him because his upgrade failed, but she just looks at him with pure disdain. She calls him a hopeless dopamine addict, pointing out he just got it to +4 after 20 attempts. Babul reminds him that the success rate for +5 is a measly 5%. Uzugam snaps back, declaring that is not enough, and that this dopamine gentleman needs a much stronger hit of excitement. Grinning, Thompson keeps teasing him, asking if a brave hero is seriously going to give up so easily. Uzugam grabs his damaged Ishin shield, shouting with absolute determination to try just one more time. He yells that he will bet his entire fortune, causing Habil to cover her eyes in exhaustion. Thompson, on the other hand, laughs happily, loving the high-stakes hero attitude. Thompson says that is exactly what he expects from a true hero, while Habil gently warns that they are about to set off and a broken shield would be a disaster. Just then, a voice calls out to her. Turning around, she spots Kim Chin-yu and calls out his name. He warmly compliments her, saying she looks much more mature since they last met, prompting her to shyly ask what brought him over. Smiling, Kim Chin-yu explains that he was just taking a walk around the village to check on the preparations before they all head out to fight the goblins. Since he was the one who requested the expedition, he wanted to see if he could offer any assistance. Habil happily praises how thoughtful Leon is, but Uzugam suddenly leaps in from behind. Habil gasps, telling Uzugam he nearly gave her a heart attack. Without wasting a single moment, the desperate tank falls to his knees and begs Leon for help, leaving Kim Chin-yu totally confused. Habil steps in to explain, introducing Uzugam as their party tank. She sighs, explaining that as he can see, this guy is a total dopamine addict who is obsessed with gear upgrading. You know a gamer is truly desperate when they resort to this kind of superstition. Leon nods, wondering how he can help, while Uzugam begs him to stand nearby for good luck, making Habil scoff. She asks if he is seriously trying to use Leon as some sort of human lucky charm. Ignoring her, Uzugam tells Thompson to get to work, and Kim Chin-yu steps closer to oblige. Uzugam closes his eyes and prays desperately with clenched fists. Thompson raises his massive hammer, ready to strike. With a mighty slam, the hammer strikes and the iron shield bursts with a brilliant blinding glow. Instantly, the system screen flashes with a massive success notification, confirming he successfully upgraded his gear to a shiny new +5 shield. Uzugam laughs hysterically in pure joy, celebrating his brand new +5 item and bragging about the absolutely godly stats it just rolled. Bowing deeply, he repeatedly thanks Leon for being his ultimate lucky charm. Kim Chin-yu can only offer a shy smile, insisting he did absolutely nothing, while Uzugam immediately turns to show off his glorious shield to Habul. Where did she go? Or maybe a loser without a +5 item just can't see it. Shorty Habio stands below, gritting her teeth in bitter frustration. Then the system sends an additional notification about this guy. The user set a sub-goal of upgrading to +5 with a reward of 100,000 quig. What a safe asset. Reading this, Habio cries out in admiration, is that for real? Not wanting to be outdone, she aggressively turns back with a request. Leon, please touch my bow just once. Kim Chin-yu happily replies, of course, I really hope it succeeds. Right after, Habio immediately places her bow on the table and begs, Thompson, please upgrade it. Instantly, the system announces a success. With a +5 bow ready, even Habio can barely believe her own eyes. Would you look at that, 2 back-to-back successes the moment Leon steps in? She gasps in shock. The stats are fully maxed out, meaning this crazy buff is actually working. Bio grabs her bow and jumps for joy. I am so happy, Leon, I love you so much. Just then, someone approaches Kim Chin-yu, and soon a whole crowd gathers, smiling and begging him to touch their weapons too. Leon, do me next. He happily replies that it is trouble at all. Meanwhile, poor blacksmith Thompson's left standing there, absolutely stunned by this sudden turn of events. Kim Chin-yu turns back with a smug grin, muttering to have fun with that crowd. Thompson's eyes go blank, his body freezing up as he pleads for help. But Habeo just says, all right, we are counting on you two. Time for some massive upgrades. With such a huge crowd gathering, everyone is told to form an orderly line. Seconds later, successful upgrade notifications start flooding the system over and over until everything is done. Thompson sits in a corner, completely drained, muttering that he is utterly exhausted. Meanwhile, Habeo walks beside them, happily showering Leon with praise in front of everyone, calling his lucky buff absolute genius. Kim Chin-yu modestly downplays it, saying the blacksmith is just highly skilled. Meanwhile, Uzugam gloomily realizes his proud server first, +5 upgrade title just lost all its value in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, Shan Wu pops up in front of them, happily cheering that he heard about their successful upgrades. He pulls out a small guitar and offers to play a congratulatory song he wrote just for them. Asking if they want a taste, he leaves Habio completely speechless, as Shan Wu begins to sing anyway. He sings a cheesy tune, wishing light upon their upgrade hammer. Kim Chin-yu quietly asks if Habio actually knows him, but she just gives an awkward laugh, confessing she has no idea how he joined. But with him around, those creepy spirits do not dare come near our party. Hearing this, Kim Chin-yu realizes why she keeps him close, since Habeo has extremely sharp hearing. No wonder she ignored him lately, even when he called from right nearby, but that soul color feels strangely familiar. Suddenly, Kim Chin-yu remembers his brother's words, telling him that his soul light actually shines like a rainbow. Just then, a system notification pops up, displaying a B-tier trait called Unyielding Dream. He once dreamed of stardom but had to give up his microphone in despair, but this time he will never fall. No matter what happens. Habio notices his strange silence, stepping closer to ask if something is wrong. Kim Chin-yu simply brushes it off, softly replying that everything is fine. Suddenly, a loud voice nearby cuts in, demanding that everyone just shut up and follow him. Lee Hun-sung just smirks at this, saying hunting dogs usually lead the way, so he will graciously allow it this once. Myo-hee snaps back in anger, asking if the bastard has completely lost his mind. As they start bickering again, Lee Hun-sung mockingly tells her not to bark so loudly, claiming he is just keeping watch over them. Gritting her teeth, Myo-hee fires back, asking him if he wants to settle this right here and now. Seeing the tension, Kim Chin-yu steps in to play peacemaker, suggesting they save their strength for the upcoming battle instead of fighting each other. This causes Myo-hee to turn and call out to him. Lee Hun-sung sighs, apologizing for letting Leon see such an embarrassing display of behavior, but suddenly something clicks in Kim Chin-yu's mind as he realizes these people look way too familiar. Suddenly, wild memories flash in his head. Wait, is that his grandfather and sister? His grandpa is in a completely new body now, which is just crazy to think about, but he still remembers his sister being so sweet. She used to make him ramen and show him cute things. But looking at the aggressive Myo-hee right now, roaring at everyone to wake up and kill their enemies, the contrast is absolutely shocking. He sighs inwardly, wondering how his sister became such a wild monster. Still, it is pretty wild that both of them managed to build their own guilds and become leaders of Hunter and Hala. Kim Chin-yu frowns, deeply analyzing the game mechanics. Setting up a guild in this event takes 1,000 contribution points. Even with zero sleep, grinding that much is practically impossible for normal players. Is this whole system even working properly? Just then, the players behind him gasp in surprise as they notice his presence, shouting that Leon has finally arrived on the scene. Everyone explains they gathered here to wipe out the goblins, responding to the direct request sent by him and Habio. He turns around to face them with a polite smile. He thanks everyone for answering his call, and they warmly reply that it is the least they could do after all his help. Then, Kim Chin-yu starts reading off their guild names, calling out names like Nana Len, and even Prince Charming. The players are absolutely thrilled that Leon addressed them personally. He maintains his polite demeanor, softly offering a heartwarming proposal. You have all grown so wonderfully over time, and fighting alongside such great heroes is my ultimate honor. Will you grant me this incredible privilege?" The entire crowd roars back in passionate agreement. They shout to fight together. Seeing their high spirits, Kim Chin-yu smiles, declaring it is time to move out before leading the march straight toward the city gates. Just then, the female commander loudly orders her knights to salute the heroes as they proudly raise their swords high. With a firm, heavy step on the soil, Kim Chin-yu leads his massive army out into the wild. Dusk quickly approaches as the army marches on with relentless energy. Uzugam looks around the beautiful scenery, excited and claiming he is feeling incredibly pumped up for action. He laughs, saying a scenic view like this really calls for a nice drink, prompting someone to offer some fruit wine. Beside them, Chanwoo quickly pulls out a notepad to write, completely inspired by the gorgeous view in front of them. Obsessed with his endless creative inspiration, he frantically tries to jot everything down before he forgets, while Minho grumpily begs him to stop that weird heavy metal noise. Confidence is at an all-time high among the troops. Kim Chin-yu looks back at them, realizing that since they treat this as a game, the atmosphere remains light and relaxed. He smiles warmly, knowing this relaxed vibe is actually perfect. If we force them to fight, they would just be slaves. From now on, we will keep selecting heroes, helping them grow, and fighting together. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him. Tai steps forward to report, confirming they have fully investigated the heroes and finished preparing them, just as Leon requested. He explains that all support has been transferred from the Mage Tower without any issues. Tia sits behind them, excitedly shouting that they are ready, and that the goblins have also grown much stronger. The crew behind flashes peace signs, happily announcing that they have prepared their respective parts. Even the resting villagers are keeping a close watch on the entire situation from their secret base. Hearing the update, Kim Chin-yu smiles, noting they should arrive shortly. Before long, the entire army successfully reaches the mysterious foggy forest. He decides it is time to set up their staging area as they venture deeper inside. Looking around, Minho and Chun-suk squint through the dense mist, wondering why the fog suddenly got so incredibly thick. They can't even see the path anymore, and things are starting to look serious. But ahead, Kim Chin-yu calmly explains that the local corruption is already beginning to take hold of this entire region. To think all of this is happening right inside a magic barrier, Habel cries out in sheer shock, "What do you mean?" Right then, a creature with writhing purple tentacles starts closing in on them. Oblivious to the danger, Kim Jin-woo just keeps talking. "They definitely know we are coming. There has to be some incredibly powerful entity pulling the strings here." With a serious look, he warns everyone they should probably fall back for now. Before he can even finish his sentence, a tentacle suddenly whips forward to attack. Luckily, Jin-woo reacts instantly, raising his sword to block the devastating blow right in front of him. Kim Jin-woo immediately spins around and screams a warning, "Fall back everyone. This is an invasive attack." As tentacles lash out from below, Habel and the rest are terrified. Gasping, "Is this a sacrificial ritual right in the middle of a battlefield?" Uzugam looks up and shouts in sheer disbelief, "What on earth is that?" Suddenly, a massive, towering shadow erupts right in front of Habel, quickly solidifying into a monstrous beast that prepares to lunge. At that exact moment, a heavy blade plunges straight down into the monster. The owner of this sword is none other than Kim Jin-woo. Letting out a fierce roar, he channels his energy, making the blade glow with blinding light. Instantly, the sheer impact of his strike causes the surrounding ground to crack and shatter. Jin-woo anxiously turns around, calling out to see if everyone is okay, to which Habel hesitantly nods, thanking their savior, Leon. Right then, Mihei looks up at the sky and screams for everyone to wait. Her eyes fill with trembling terror as she mutters that something is deeply wrong up there, just as a dark shadow completely swallows the sun. Ominous dark energy begins spilling down from the eclipse. Everyone stands stunned. A black sun. Suddenly, heavy war drums start echoing through the air as massive hordes of angry goblins emerge, howling with pure rage. They line up across the mountain peaks right in front of Kim Jin-woo's party. Look at that massive horde, honestly. You can't blame Uzugam for panicking and screaming that they are totally doomed. Habel stares blankly, muttering that their numbers are just way too insane. Jin-woo's jaw drops in shock, realizing this is no longer a simple skirmish, it is a full-scale war. Just then, system comments begin popping up. Hal Leo comments that this is absolutely insane, while Sil43 asks who even planned this quest. Doing agrees, calling it peak dark fantasy. What kind of rescue mission is this anyway? That's when Kim Jin-woo speaks up, his tone deadly serious. "It was a trap all along. He realizes they were waiting for us." Looking around, he cautiously adds that to spring a trap of this scale, they must have known our exact plans from the start. They had to know exactly where our expedition started and how large our force was. Mihei's eyes widen as she realizes what this means. There is a traitor inside Everness. Meanwhile, a staff slams heavily into the ground as Tia, the one controlling the monsters, grins. "That is never going to happen," she scoffs. Meanwhile, the soldiers begin to tremble in fear, stammering about the enemy's numbers, and the terrifying, crazed ancient dragon towering over them. "We are totally doomed." At that moment, Kim Jin-woo raises his hand, firmly declaring that it is all his fault as the heroes are not ready to face the evil dragon yet. He snaps his fingers, deciding to send them all back to Everness. Suddenly, magical shield icons appear in front of everyone as the system flashes a notification. Leon is using the entirety of his divine power to safely return you to Everness. Do you accept? If you die on this demon-infested battlefield, you will be unable to resurrect in Everness for 3 days, and your death penalty will increase by 50%. Seeing this, Habel anxiously asks what will happen to him. Leon hears this, but he only gives a quiet smile without answering, leaving her waiting in deep worry. She speaks up firmly, declaring that if he sends them back, Leon will be left all alone. Even if I die, I want to fight by his side until the end. Mihei and the others join in, shouting in agreement, "Well said, let's go." Junior, Valhalla warrior never backs down. They roar, "Did you honestly think we would shrink away from this trash? Let's fight." Lee Hoon-sung and the rest are just as fired up, shouting at the top of their lungs, "Hunters, get ready to hunt. Tonight we feast on goblin meat, and we are going to craft some fine goblin armor out of you bastards." Jinwoo and the remaining warriors raise their weapons high, cheering excitedly, "Let me play a glorious song in your honor. There's no way in hell we are running away from these green pests." But Jinwoo is still deeply concerned, warning them that this battle will be far more brutal than before. "Are you really okay with this?" Habel clenches her fist tightly and fires back, "Of course we are." With a resolute nod, Leon raises his sword high and bellows, "Thank you, everyone. As long as you don't give up, I will stand by your side even if my soul gets torn to shreds." Instantly, their weapons ignite with a brilliant light. Lee Hoon-sung looks down at his glowing weapon, whispering in awe, "Is this a buff effect?" Mihei also gasps in astonishment, claiming she can feel an unbelievable surge of power flowing through her body. Leon thrusts his sword forward, roaring at the top of his lungs for Aland. In that instant, everyone charges ahead with burning fury. Now watch closely, because as they rush into battle, a mysterious voice suddenly echoes from the side. Now the real war begins. Sitting nearby, Thompson turns to ask in curiosity, "Hey T, if the heroes had chosen to retreat, the biggest risk would have been all of them falling into corruption, right?" She giggles and explains that it doesn't really matter anyway, as they wouldn't have escaped regardless. Since the storyline is being forced to progress, that part is simply going to be skipped over. Thompson replies in admiration, "That is exactly what I expected from you, Lady Tia." However, in her mind, her thoughts are completely different. If that happened, they would have likely given up on expecting anything from the heroes. But Jinwoo was right. Those otherworld heroes are genuinely putting their lives on the line to fight these monsters for our sake. Tia wears a subtle, mysterious smile, thinking that, if that's the case, she must go all out to wipe them clean. Uzugam and his shield brothers are the first to charge. He bellows a command for the shield unit to advance, using all his brute force to push back the goblins while roaring shield bash, "Burn them all to ashes." At the same time, an E+ rank system notification pops up. The shield bash skill uses the shield to charge enemies, dealing collision damage and inflicting a stun effect on them. The hit targets are affected by the shield's defense stat. Meanwhile, Uzugam happily flings the goblins into the air one by one, laughing that this is the raw power of a +5 shield. "You little bastards." Even so, he fails to block a goblin that suddenly leaps up to claw at his shield. Unable to raise his defense in time, the creature begins violently counterattacking him. Nearby, the others are also starting to get overwhelmed, desperately shouting to hold the line and support each other. One distracted warrior takes a heavy goblin club straight to the head as the monsters quickly swarm and pin them down. From behind, Kim Jin-woo rushes up and shouts, "Uzugam, I am going over." With that, he leaps onto the giant shield, using it as a stepping stone to launch himself into the air. Combined with Uzugam's massive upward push, Jinwoo catapults high into the sky. With a thunderous roar, he raises his sword to strike. And a second later, he crashes down like a meteor right into the center of the goblin swarm. Seeing him land, the monsters madly swarm his position. Suddenly, a blinding flash of golden light erupts from the center, leaving dead goblins scattered everywhere. Standing amidst the carnage, Jinwoo leans on his sword, swearing to protect these heroes at all costs. At the same time, Mihei calls out resolutely, "Leon has shown us the way, let's move." Valhalla warriors, charge. With one mind, they all rush into the goblin horde to attack. Over here, Mihei grits her teeth, swinging her battle axe with lightning speed as she locks onto her targets for a devastating blow. An angry goblin lunges right at her, but Mihei is completely fearless, shouting warnings right in its face. She madly smashes the monsters down one by one, but in the chaos, another one sneaks up behind her, preparing to strike. But before it can land a hit, two throwing knives plant themselves directly into its face, making it shriek in pain. The one who threw them with absolute precision is none other than Lee Hoon-sung. With a grin, Mihei high-fives him as she rushes past, wishing him a good hunt, which Hoon-sung happily returns. Nearby, Habel raises her voice, commanding the ranged unit to prepare, and on her signal to fire, they let loose a volley. Just then, more system comments flood in. Octahawk asks what is with Habel's weird casting pose, to which Hadujaja jokingly replies that it is simply because those assets of hers are way too massive. Wow, Wika Duong, the size of that bag is absolutely insane. Mamcham Duong knew exactly how she would react, which instantly makes her yell out in absolute anger for everyone to shut up. Meanwhile, the other party members also begin raising their magic staffs, calling out their powerful spells in perfect unison. Fireball, Windblade, Magic Missile, great spheres of fire rain down one after another, incinerating the goblins. Even so, the mages remain deeply anxious. There are just too many of them, and at this rate we are going to run completely out of mana soon. The mage in the white robe turns to the side, asking if they brought enough potions. The black-haired boy next to him sighs, replying that even with what they have, it will not be nearly enough. Standing in the back, Chin Yu watches the scene in complete awe. Seeing everyone fighting with all their might in the absolute heat of battle fires him up. Excitement surging, he pulls out his guitar, declaring he will play an epic battle song dedicated just to them. Suddenly, dual flows of fire and water mana erupt simultaneously. Everyone watches in astonishment as he begins to play, with pure mana instantly swirling and gathering around his body. Wait, is his music actually restoring stamina and mana? Realizing what is happening, they shout out to the team. Anyone low on mana, quickly absorb the energy from our romantic bard. Strumming his instrument, Chin Yu happily replies that he is glad to keep playing if his music gives them strength. If his performance can help, he is more than willing. Fired up, the entire squad charges forward as one to attack the horde. Sensing their momentum, Habel quietly points out that they are slowly pushing forward. Watching the battlefield, she feels a spark of hope. No matter how many goblins there are, at this rate, they might actually pull off a victory. But right when we think they have got this, boom! A massive crash suddenly throws everything into the air, leaving everyone on the battlefield completely panicked and confused. Plummeting from the sky is a massive giant-headed goblin wielding a colossal warhammer. The sight of this terrifying monster causes everyone to gasp in sheer horror. It is the infamous Hero Slayer. The monster slams its giant hammer into the ground, sending a shockwave of dark energy outward. This ominous aura sweeps over the scattered corpses of the fallen goblins. A second later, their fingers begin to twitch. One by one, the dead monsters writhe and stand back up. The warriors watch in sheer horror, screaming that the fallen goblins are rising again. Not only are they resurrected, but they look much stronger. The resurrected horde begins overwhelming the exhausted warriors. Panic spreads as they scream in despair. Are you kidding me? How can we possibly win against this? Suddenly, the system sounds an ominous warning. Remaining heroes 639. The savage goblins launch a frenzied assault, cutting down the warriors one by one. The count drops rapidly. Remaining heroes 570, then 509. Nearby, Chin Yu charges headfirst toward the giant goblin, yelling that he is its opponent. As the beast turns, a blinding flash of light disorients it. Seizing the opening, he swings his sword with immense power, but the monster barely manages to block. With lightning speed, he delivers a devastating slash right through the giant goblin. The monster's massive body collapses to the ground, sliced clean in half. The surrounding heroes erupt in cheers. Leon actually defeated the Hero Slayer, but look closely, right here, a strange, glowing object flies out of nowhere and plunges into the giant, wrapping the corpse in an ominous, pitch-black aura. The goblin bares its razor-sharp teeth as its severed body pieces stitch back together, fully resurrecting. Seeing this, Chin Yu grits his teeth in sheer frustration, while Habel watches the scene in utter shock. Leon, what on earth is going on here? Pointing to a massive pillar looming up ahead, he asks her if she sees that dark tower. The magic circle inside is gathering immense mana, continuously summoning and resurrecting the dead monsters. Habel nods, asking how they can stop it. He seriously explains that there should be an energy core right in the center. He promises to break through and open a path, which brings a determined smile to Habel's face. Exactly, we will destroy that core. Chin Yu flashes a confident grin. Charging forward with the remaining heroes, he shouts out for everyone to move out. On the other side, the goblins rush forward to counterattack. Chin Yu channels all his energy into his blade, thrusting it forward with decisive power to carve a clear path through the horde. Finally, he manages to close in on the glowing red pillar. Seizing the opening, the heroes shout for everyone to run now. But suddenly, a stray goblin leaps out to attack Habel. Without hesitation, Chin Yu leaps in front of Habel to shield her. He takes a painful hit, gritting his teeth through the injury. Yet, he still manages to gracefully dodge another incoming beast. Exhausted, Chin Yu collapses to the ground. Seeing this, Habel cries out his name in panic. He simply gestures for her to keep going. Just then, Yu Gom and his soldiers arrive, urging them to run ahead while they hold the line. Meanwhile, the system announces that only 192 heroes remain alive. Panting heavily, the exhausted mages curse, realizing their mana pools are totally depleted. Deciding that blowing themselves up is better than dying at the hands of these goblins, they unleash a final massive mana explosion. Meanwhile, the grim counter drops further, down to just 42 survivors. Gritting her teeth, Habel continues sprinting forward. Looking at the massive army of goblins blocking her path, she desperately wonders how there can still be so many of them left. Making her choice, Hebel leaps back and flies high into the air, urging the remaining two to push to the very end. Channeling all her energy into her bow, she draws her arrow and unleashes a powerful spirit arrow rain, scattering the charging goblins. It seems Hebel put every ounce of her remaining strength into that final strike. Exhausted but smiling, she mutters that they absolutely must destroy that central core. As she collapses, the goblins swarm her. Mu-E looks back in anguish as they close in on Hebel while the system alerts them of the rapidly falling survival rate. Undeterred, Lai Hansheng continues sprinting forward, shouting a warning. Do not stop, we cannot let the sacrifice of Teacher Jene and the others be in vain. Mu-E quickly replies to her older companion saying she knows, before launching herself high into the air with an explosive jump. From above, Mu-E readies her giant axe, while below, Li Hansheng prepares a razor-sharp arrow. Reaching the destination, both of them strike the target with everything they have. Instantly, the core cracks down the middle before completely shattering into tiny pieces. Mu-E cheers in pure delight, shouting out that they actually destroyed the core. Relieved, she smiles, believing this nightmare is finally over. But suddenly, a giant skeletal hand manifests in the sky, accompanied by a terrifying, threatening voice asking who on earth told them it was over. Hearing this, Mu-E and Li Hansheng widen their eyes in absolute shock as a terrifying skeleton with glowing red eyes sneers at them. It growls, calling them arrogant trash, and vows that none of them will leave this place alive.